Today, I will present to you what Nick and Malena personally said to the judge under oath in their final divorce hearing. This may be my final video about this divorce because it really isn't entertainment. What I've learned from these testimonies really disturbed me, and you will see it too. But first, I want you to please, everything you think you know about the subject matter, try to forget that, right? No matter how much you dislike me, Nick, Malena, or anyone else involved, try to put that out your mind. The information I've learned, and you will also learn today, has made me realize this goes way deeper than money, and I hope they find peace moving forward. Since there are so many pages, I will go through this the best I can, and feel free to pause if you want to read the pages for yourself. Let's start with one of the main reasons they actually went to court. After reading the testimonies, I understand why Malena has not said a word public. At any given moment, it seems like OTK can kick owners from the company like they did Mizkiff and Rich Campbell. Nick is on the board, which means he decides if they kick her out or not. I think they just need a reason to do it first, right? Malena testified that she did not have access to the accounts with the money and lived under supervision of Nick. Even the money she made through YouTube editing went into an account without her name on it. She referenced this in her divorce filing back in 2025. Nick testified that Malena did not get access to the money that she made that was going into his account until 2023 when she was given a signatory login. With that being said, I can see why she accused him of financial abuse. She also testified that at one point that she took the blame for a situation publicly in order for OTK not to terminate Esfand as an owner for making a woman feel uncomfortable. I think that woman was just a minx. This is dark. This whole transcript effed me up, and it also made me understand why no other streamers in Austin except OTK and the people who can financially benefit off OTK's tales has spoken about it. They probably know the truth. Don't you ever wonder why none of Malena's friends have unfollowed her or spoken up about it? Imagine spending more than a decade with someone, right? You meet when you're 16 years old, you move across the world to be with him, you build a career together, you start streaming together, you make money together, you build a business together, and eventually after years of all this, you end up sitting in a courtroom explaining to a judge why the person you built your life with allegedly controlled the money, insulted you, destroyed the relationship. Malena testified on January 12th. Nick testified the following day. All of this is public information that anyone can obtain from the Travis County Clerk of Courts. Their testimony may provide an answer as to why Malena only got 50% of the marital assets. You see, she originally asked for 60, so why did she only get 50? Granted, she got 55% of Star Ford Systems, but she wanted 60. One of the bigger questions is, why did Malena get spousal maintenance? That's what she wanted from Nick. Spousal maintenance, $5,000 a month for 5 years, which totaled $300,000, which Nick was strongly against, right? When she filed for a new case, right? Most people don't know it wasn't because she didn't like the judgment per se. It was because she wanted spousal support. This was her motion for the new trial, and it was just to see if she can get spousal support. Now, this was denied outright pretty much as soon as she filed it, and it was denied by the same judge who oversaw the case. Now, moving forward, when it starts out, right, they met in 2013. Well, to be fair, they first met online and became familiar with each other in 2012.
You see how this looks, right?
And then they could stay connected in 2013. It progressed, okay? In 2013, they were kind of flirtatious online before going to both a gaming convention, right? They're like, oh, flirting online. Guess what? She was 16 in 2012. 16 when they met. Roughly November 2013, they went public via Nick's Facebook post. Married September 25, 2015. She was 19 years old. Why did she do it? Because she actually loved him. Probably the first and last woman that ever will. And she described it, the transition from Norway to the States, as it was rough. Okay. She was lonely. She didn't have her family there. And the relationship with Nick, hey, guess what? It was bumpy. Her words, it was bumpy. As we continue going on, she talks about how she didn't finish like high school. She went up to the equivalent of the 10th grade, which was year 10 in Norway. So she's not the most, educated, if you will. Okay, but she made the trip. She came to America. She describes, how their relationship began. How did it begin? So guess what? What was he doing? He was streaming more as a hobby back then. And he was also, he worked for former roommate Soda Poppin', who is, Thomas Morris, when he was editing videos and managing his YouTube channel. Eventually, she took over the job as a YouTube editor and channel manager for Soda Poppin'. And pretty early on, she learned how to edit videos. Okay. And she considered herself just naturally good at it. She continued that up until, she doesn't know, 2021. And then Nick had more time to focus on streaming, which was what he wanted to pursue for them to succeed. Okay. And he was streaming video games alone at first, very off and on, sporadically, where sometimes he would take a 6-month break from just not streaming. But then guess what, right? How did that evolve over time? Now, this is Malena's testimony. She says, well, in 2019, I started streaming together with Nick, and we did a lot better together, having a dynamic together where we could banter and where we could go to things together and where one of us could hold the camera and we could do things together. And I was also very good at planning streams and used my creative ability to that. And that Nick was good at tech. So we were a good team when it came to streaming together. I would say we were entertaining. Now, how long did that last? Approximately 5 years. She described it as being hard. The reason being because a lot of their real problems were being used for entertainment. She described herself as being a pretty jealous person in nature, like pretty insecure. And she believes that Nick would use her as a shield on his streams to flirt with a lot of women in front of her. And that was very mentally taxing for Malena, because if she spoke up about it, Malena would seem insecure and people would just bully her more. So it's kind of an evil circle, that amongst other things, right? So that's what this is her testimony, how she's describing it. And she agrees that yes, there are YouTube videos made with hundreds of thousands of views of just her being upset. Furthermore, how did Nick respond to her flirting with when she called him out about flirting with other women? She says that, I think Nick knows how to like egg me on, like make a forced reaction out of me because, big, funny, tall, scary Norwegian woman that rages a lot. It would be easy entertainment for him, for us to use for him. We both benefited off of it. Don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of things that I would have done differently now that I'm older, because guess what? When he met her, she was 16, girlfriend status, boyfriend status. When she is 17, married, 19, this is the only person she knows. And this is arguably the love of her life at the time. Furthermore, testimony. And what was the reaction to that? Her lawyer asked her, did it come to a point where you no longer wanted to stream with Nick? Which she said, yes, I did not. Did you tell him? Yes, she told him. And how did he react from that? Nick, yeah, she said it was not good. It was not good. We've seen text messages that says, hey, get back to work, lock in. Sorry, this is hard for me to talk about. I felt very burnt and overworked to a degree, and I took a break from streaming, which I've never done, for like 1 to 2 weeks just to recuperate. And then at first, he was very supportive, but bad timing. It was just a lot. It was Nick tried to make me come back to streaming, saying that I have to do my job, not to be lazy, that I'm like ruining this for the both of them. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to sit here and blabber, because look, when you testify, you have no idea what's the stopping point and starting point. Okay. And then they bring up P92, this document P92. If you guys don't remember, I've actually showed this on stream before, P92, I believe this is the conversation where he calls her a dumb Twitch girl, calls her stupid because she accuses him of cheating on her, right? You see that? You're acting like one of those dumb Twitch girls, and that's kind of like gaslighting. So hands her that document. That document goes into evidence. We know this is from November 5th, 2017. There's no objection from Nick's attorney, so it's entered in court. Oftentimes, when people want to get evidence in the court, the other opposing counsel may object to it and give a reason, and then the judge will decide if it will get entered into evidence or not. So they go on to go through the text messages, and so, man, I'm referring to P92 here. He is referring, hey, do you actually think I cheated on you? Hello. Okay, so what was going on at the time that led to that statement by him? She explains, or she testifies, Nick was on another person's live stream, and when all of this, it happened live, so it's like 5-second delay. And a lot of things can happen live that people don't really mean to. And someone walked into a guest room of a house where Nick was in the guest room with his ex-girlfriend, right? So she's watching a random live stream, and someone goes into a closed door, and in that room is Nick with his ex-girlfriend. She goes on to testify, I don't know if they were actually dating. They had a thing before Nick and I started dating in 2013. Now, mind you, this is 2017. This is her actual husband. This is not her boyfriend. This is not someone she's talking to. This is her husband in a room with a closed door with someone that he likely probably dated previously. And this is a live camera caught him hugging her because she was crying or something, is what he told me. And then another guy, from what Nick said, I don't know if this is what was before or after our argument, her and another guy slept in the same room as him as far as I can remember. And I just want to be clear. I saw this live on stream sitting at home, and I was not there at the streamer party that was live streamed where Nick was hugging his ex. The lawyer says, and so here he says, you're acting like one of these dumb Twitch girls. Is that the type of language he would use with you during the relationship? She responds, yes. And also, this whole thing shows how stupid you are. Would he call you stupid? Yeah, he called me dumb pretty frequently. And how difficult was that for you? I believed it. Ugh. How many times do you have to call someone dumb for them to believe it? Is it one time? Is it 2 times? Is it 3 times? If you call her pretty often, is it 1,000 times? I don't know how many times it was, but she actually believed it. So this was having an impact on her self-esteem. I see pimps do this. They keep a woman's self-esteem down to make them seem like they need them, and just keep that in the back of your mind. And here at the bottom line says, honestly, KYS, is this something the two of y'all would say sometimes to one another? She agrees, like, yeah, in the gaming community, we use KYS, like euphemisms. The language is a lot more disgusting, like in the industry we're in. It's just full of gamers and people who don't really go outside. So yes, this is something that would sometimes say to each other. But in this context, I think he was just really angry. Question, was this the only time Mr. Pallone would talk down to you and say negative things about you? No. Did it continue through the relationship? Yes. And in part, did that lead to your separation? Now, this is where she starts to literally give him an out. Maybe she's being honest. Maybe she's protected him in some weird way. I think we failed to communicate. So now this is a joint blame statement, and his lawyer actually picks up on this during her cross-examination. Okay. And Mr. Payne was talking about to the court about his opening statement that you have not taken any steps to become employed. Remember, the only reason his lawyer, Nick's lawyer, is talking about her not taking steps to be employed is because he doesn't want to pay her spousal maintenance. What does your mental journey look like over the past year as far as developing a support system for yourself? She says, it's been rough. I don't really know who I can trust or not because he has a very big circle of friends, and I always felt like the odd one out. So a lot of people really like Nick because he's very charismatic, but whereas I'm not very good at, networking with people as he is. So I've had a lot of trust issues finding people to surround myself with. Ooh, tough. She goes on to say, I've been learning how to be my own person, how to be an adult on my own. What my worth is has been hard to find. And just telling myself that I'm not stupid or a dumb Twitch girl. So it's been a process. So yes, it's been very rough, and I'm sure it has been for Nick as well. This is not easy. I don't know why in her right mind she's like worried about Nick. But you really don't know why she is. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a document marked in 93. Now you remember this document right here. We talked about this. I believe this is the one where the dad comes into play. With the controlling and, I'm not putting LeBron James on this, I'm following my dad's rules. Or she says, what about the bank account? I asked my dad, he agrees. Gaslight, and, mom didn't have access to that at all. So he's just operating like his dad. So we go on to say, now, I'm going to show you a document M93. Now, financially, how are things set up as it relates to access to business account, or bank accounts? This is very important because remember, she alleged financial abuse. So Nick's name is on our shared community funds. Sorry, I don't know how to articulate that well. Nick controls the money. Now, during your marriage relationship, what was that an argument between you and Nick? Yes. In what regard? I felt that Nick didn't see us as equals, and I felt like he used this to control me, and it made me scared. The reason it's scared because, she's generating money that's going into an account where she don't got access to it. She can't even see it for 8 years, mind you. When you say this, what are you referring to? Our money. And one of the things that, Mr. Palome talked about in this deposition is that you had access to his bank account. Do you recall him saying that? I recall him saying that. When did you learn that you had access to Mr. Palome's bank account? She testifies right here. I don't have access to his bank account. Again, I don't have access to his bank account. Oh, to clarify, is your name on the account? No, no, it's not on an account. Can you access the records? No, I cannot log in or see anything. This is a little different from Nick's testimony. He don't fully disagree, but we know she didn't get access to 2023 based on his testimony. I have asked Nick over several years to please make me an equal to him. And what has the response has been? And it's been negative. Oh, man. So here on P93, this is a Discord. Is that correct? Yes. And Nick Palome, that's Nick. Yeah. We know all this. And you're Malena. Yes. We know that. Okay. And this from May 29th, 2024. That's correct. Yes. Okay. So they offer up P93. I think Mr. Payne, this is his attorney, right? Any objections? Long story short, he does make an objection to it. I think the extent of the entire conversation is being offered. I would object on a couple of grounds. One, relevance. Both parties have pled for insupportability as the ground for divorce. And two, this thread contains messages not really relevant to what I understand to be the purposes of and why being offered. Luckily, the court, that objection is overruled. So if it was sustained, we actually would never see this. If this was sustained, we never see this exhibit. This exhibit never really sees the light of day. And you're going to see some exhibits that come up in here that I don't have exhibits for because one, they didn't get in, or the courts maybe weren't the best at tracking the exhibits, because when I requested them based on what was available, sometimes they'll say it's not there. And with it not being there, I couldn't do anything about it. I reach out, I say, hey, is it there? They say, no. I can't say, hey, can you go around back and do a double, triple check? you get what you get, but I've shown as many public relevant court docs available as possible. As we continue, so it's into evidence. How do now they go on to this, like sometimes, judges will go back and forth because if I recall correctly, eventually doubles back to the money. Okay. So here, Mr. Palom calls you the R word. Is that a term he will use often with you as far as being an R word? Yeah. Yes. And how did you respond to that type of claim? Usually when Nick got mad, I would try to keep the subject of what actually is bothering me, but I feel like we were miscommunicating a lot. I tried to voice my concerns, and I feel like whenever I voiced my concerns, he would take it as an attack. And then he would attack me with words that hurt me even more. So, he knows words hurt her, and he's just, using it, keep her self-esteem down, in my opinion. And this was during the time period you were caring for your mom. Yes. This was when I was on my way back to America after my mom told me she was sick again, but we didn't know for certain that it was cancer. And so to be clear, does your mom have cancer now? She did have cancer. Yes. Did you take time to care for her? I took time to be with my mom because the first time she had cancer, I was there. And I was here. She was here. And I would never forgive myself if I didn't spend potentially the last few months of her life with her. Is she better now? She is doing better now. She's struggling a lot from the treatment still, but doing better. Okay. Now, at that point in 2024, you were concerned about Mr. Palom being involved with a relationship. Yes, the other woman. And guess what? And what was that? And so was in 2024, this communication was going around. Were you and Mr. Palom considering divorce at the time? I think it was just another one of our fights, she says. Now, here's the money then. And here you were asking for access to the bank account. Is that correct? As he's just going through the conversation. Yes, I had been I didn't feel equal to him. I felt very controlled. So to be clear, your income was going into your bank account? No, it was going into his bank account. Ain't that some crazy stuff? You're making money. You are making money. You're generating money. And the money is going into someone else's bank account. Granted, it's your husband, but it's not your account. You see that? And did you have access to that income? I cannot log into the bank account. No. Did you ask him to give you money, so to speak? This is how she explains their financial situation. I have a credit card that goes to the specific bank account in question where Nick can see all of my transactions, but I cannot see his. Wow. And yes, sorry, if I wanted to make a purchase of something, I would usually have to consult with Nick unless it was for stream purposes. I just want to make that clear. I did spend money like buying stuff for our stream and running our stream. Okay, so now excuse me. So you're talking about concerns about Nick developing a relationship. When did that occur? I would say it started early 2024. And why did you have those concerns? Because I felt like all of his attention was spent elsewhere. And with whom was that spent attention? What do you mean? Like, who are you talking about? Here we go. He was playing games all the time, even off stream with another woman. We know who that woman is. And he was also talking to her even when they weren't streaming. And I was really struggling at the time, and I felt like his attention was elsewhere. And who was he talking with? Her name is Nora, as in Nora the Explorer. Hipgate. And has Mr. Palom have been in a relationship with Nora? Yes, I think he has. I think they had a thing. I'm not sure how it went, but so why did you decide to file for divorce? I feel like when he went to Amsterdam and physically there with Nora, after reassuring me for months that this was not a real relationship, he took it one step further while I was in Spain with my mom, where she was undergoing cancer treatment at the time. And he live streamed on both of their channels, so both Nora and him, and they would flirt. And they would poke fun at me and mock me, sorry, to the point where I deleted all my social media. I just didn't want to see it anymore. I'm sorry. Wow. And, you know, at this point, she's emotional and they take a break. But that was just the opening part of the testimony, right? Now, let's get to Nick's testimony. We're going to start it right here where it talks about the formation of OTK, where it starts in 2020 when they formed OTK. Him and a couple other streamers who were rather large decided they were going into a kind of pool their resources together to make an organization. Early on, they realized they had a shelf life. The best way to extend their shelf life was to make companies like Starforge and Mythic that can operate without them, and they could still be profitable and sometime down the line, we could sell it. You know, that was the goal of OTK. So OTK's goal was always to sell. All right. It was always to sell. All right. Now, you know, who are the members? He says, me, Tips, Thomas Moore's, Esfand, Emaru, Extra Emily. All right. He says, I hope I'm not missing anyone. Yeah, I think those are the members, like actual talent on the roster. And just to be clear, right? You don't own a controlling interest in OK. In other words, you don't call the shots unilaterally. No, I don't. His lawyer asking him that because this way he can say he can't just kick her off the board or out the organization. But remember, the organization is all their friends. So, hey, you want to vote Malena out? Yeah, let's all vote her out. All right. So, as a bit of background, you talked about your role as a streamer. Could you describe Ms. Palome's role she had, if any, as a streamer during your marriage? So what does Nick say about Malena? So what me and Malena did for a few years ago, we decided that we would stream together. And we had somewhat of a dual channel where we would just, you know, stream stuff like the kitchen, you know, make content the way, you know, usually stream for about 4 hours. I would be there the whole time. She would be there about half the time. And we just did a bunch of stuff like Twitch related stuff. Okay. All right. And how would you describe her familiarity with OTK? He's saying remember, they're laying the foundation to give her half the shares. Okay. She doesn't want the shares. She wants the money. He's like, no, I want you to take the shares. Okay. So that is that. All right. So he goes on to say, what was the question? How would you, what's your thoughts when you heard about, that characterization of the OTK members? Because he's testifying a day later. She got to testify day 1. He is testifying day 2. So he is asking, you know, Nick about her characterization. So we have a few members, like I said, and maybe 1 or 2 of them are actual friends. The rest of them are just co-workers. I don't go to the movies with them. I don't go to dinner with them. We're not, I wouldn't say friends. Oof. And what are your standing of Malena's social media presence? She has a rather large one. Why are they bringing this up? Because they want her to monetize that platform or her social media to make money. So you don't got to pay spousal support. Does she maintain the social media accounts? Yes, she does. What other platforms listed? Some if you want again, does not matter. And would you describe your knowledge and following that she has substantial? So he's like, oh, she has a substantial following. If you combine all of them, she probably has 500,000. And her lawyer says, or his lawyer says, does she know, understand of how to monetize that following? Well, it's really up to the individual how they want to do it. The hard part is getting people to actually follow you. Once you have that, you can go down a few different options, different ways to monetize. Twitch is an easy one. Instagram, they're all monetizable. And in your experience as a streamer, do you understand and agree if follower Malena's have discussed the possibility of monetizing her following? Yeah. So they've talked about it. And what does that look like in terms of what you discuss? She could absolutely do what I do and make a good living doing it. I mean, it would take her some time. The problem is she spent 10 years building up his social media platform. Sure, she benefited somewhat, but the main driver, all of the content went on his channel, similar to how you kind of like doing Kachi right now. You've heard testimony about Palome's request for spousal maintenance. Did she work during the marriage? Yeah. And did she earn income from working? Kind of. Could you describe how she worked? So as I said, I would stream for like she would help on my channel. And the money that came in, that was, the money that we used. So he's framing it like, yeah, the money that we made on my channel is the money we lived off when, she was equally part of that channel, right? I mean, that's for y'all to describe. Her educational background, neither of them have college degrees. He thinks they did pretty well for themselves. What happened? Describe what happened early on with the income, right? There was a time when it changed. In other words, was there a time where income changed? So when did he level up? He says, so early on, we didn't make a lot of money. As Malena testified, I didn't stream a lot early on. I wasn't super confident with it. I gained a whole bunch of weight, but over time, I kind of realized that it was necessary to get going. So I started streaming more regularly and, just like anything, you have to try multiple things. And eventually it took off and we were able to create what you see today. Yeah. On his platform. Yes. Now Miss Palone filed for divorce. Is this the case, right? Yeah, technically she filed for divorce. What's this question? And the two of you separated at the end of last year. Yeah, it was before that, because this is 2026. They keep going. And what impact did the divorce proceedings have on you, right? So now he's about to talk about reputational harm. You see, Nick accuses Malena of what you're going to see in these court documents of strategically placing these allegations and filing things right before it's sealed so it could lead to hurt his reputation. Because Nick has to be the victim. But at the end of this case, you may see things differently. So how has it impacted him? A lot. This divorce has, due to leaks and things getting out, has completely put a strain on my reputation. Oh, man, it's the divorce hurting his reputation. You search my name in Google, one of the first things that pops up is financial abuse allegations, And your reputation in this industry is everything. As Malena testified, we haven't got to that part of it yet. And what concerns, if any, do you have about your ability to earn income? All right. So it is my opinion that it's not going to be what it was. I've not streamed for a long time, and that makes a big toll on you. Your ability to monetize, it's going to be like decent, but it's not going to be what it once was at all. I mean, dude, you was making $1 million a year. Even if you make $500,000 a year, I think you'll be okay, Nick. In order to come back to streaming, this court case has to be over. Even the last time I was filming some stuff, I was interrupted by lawyer calls. I had to stop, had to leave. It's a massive inconvenience. In order for me to come back to full strength, I would need my, the best of my abilities to have, my reputation kind of mended. So he is alluding to reputational harm. And we talk about frequency. So normally Nick streams 6 days a week from 8 until noon. So every day, okay, I guess. And what impact, if any, does divorce case had on streaming? I mean, it's been catastrophic. So it's essentially stalled everything I was doing, the growth. I slowed down immensely. So it's been quite an impact. Okay, as we keep going. The allegations of financial abuse, people were using that against me. The allegations of whatever happened in Spain and Amsterdam, people run with those narratives. I mean, people saw you in 4K. That's never happened as well. And recently, because this divorce has been going on for over a year, let's say I make a tweet now, I have people, harassing me saying, pay your wife. Hey, man, you got to pay your wife. Now, look, this is objected. Her lawyer says hearsay. The witness harassment has come from me. Hey, the court, look, man, you should know the drill by now. If the lawyer stands up and says objection, you stop talking. You don't keep talking after objection. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You've got to pause. I have to hear the objection, hear the response, and rule on it. And that's how we proceed in an orderly fashion. I'm going to sustain the objection as to hearsay. So what that means when she sustains the objection is him being harassed. That's donezo. No one cares. It's not going to be considered. Okay. And they keep going. All right. So moving forward, you will refrain from making statements by third parties, which an objection is hearsay. I would ask that you do so. Yes, I'll try. Question. With respect to the divorce, you mentioned allegations that surfaced publicly from this case. Was there a time you filed a motion to seal the case? Now remember, Nick don't want y'all seeing none of this stuff. Yes. And do you recall approximately when that was? 2025. And at the time you filed for divorce, Miss Paloma agreed to that request. Not at first, but eventually it was sealed. And there was a time before the case was sealed when Miss Paloma filed anything with the court that made an allegation or an accusation about you. Yes. The night before the case was to be sealed, they filed it. So now it's like this conspiracy theory that she tried to get this document in the final hour for it to leak, right? Because they have to paint this millionaire as some victim and Malena as being malicious, if you will. Okay, as they keep going. So the document that was filed before the case was sealed holds the majority of the accusations in it. So that document, because that was the one that was not sealed, people were able to grab it, right? They're talking about the impact of that specific document having on him reputationally. I mean, I think some people probably still think the financial abuse is real, right? I mean, if I'm making money and I don't have access to the money and it's going in your account and you say, oh, well, in 2023, you get access, the dynamic is all crazy. So the question is, I want to talk to you specifically about the statements that were made. You've heard Ms. Paloma make a claim of a quote, financial abuse. Yes. And do you agree with that assertion? No, I do not. Can you describe during the marriage how the two roles of you had when it came to managing finances? This is where it gets good. Sure. Most of the finances was done by me. As even Malena testified, she was the creative and I did most of everything else. The tech and, the finances, the sponsorships, things like that. I did my best to, create a business and run things through it. So yeah. And were there times where Miss Paloma's financial needs, let me speak accurately. And there were ever times when Miss Paloma didn't have her financial needs met financially or whatever. Absolutely not. And can you describe the side's access to the funds, access to the accounts during the marriage? This is where it's like, you're like, wait, what? Sure. This is his testimony. This is Nick telling the judge this. Sure. All the accounts were in my name, but that was on purpose. I mean, if she was asking for it and he just was like, nope. And Malena did have her own account, like a signatory, whatever it's called, though, through logins and check-ins if she wanted, she had since 2023. Now, if she had a good lawyer, he would have picked up on this because that means she didn't have it in 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 17, 16, 15, till they got married. So 8 years she didn't have this signatory account. And whenever, according to Nick, and whenever she asks to log in, whether it be for travel points or whatever, if she didn't use her account, I would always log her in. There wasn't any secrets, She could see the tax returns. She could see whatever she wants. I never told her that she could not do that, The only thing was the accounts were in her name. So for people who don't know, what is a signatory account? Well, here is the AI overview of a signatory accounts. The key facts, right? You have no ownership. It's single or joint, how it works. An account signatory is a person formal given permission to manage a bank account and make transactions for the owner. They can write checks, make deposits, and withdraw money, but they do not own the money in the account. So in 2023, 8 years into the marriage, she gets a signatory login. Just kind of like think about that. Did Ms. Paloma approach you and say, we need to move all the accounts into our joint names? Did she ever? In other words, was this arrangement the two of you had? Was this a consensual arrangement? Well, it was until it wasn't, until her brain started developing. She's like, wait a minute, why is my money going into your account? Can that be our account? He was like,
nope.
No, it cannot be. So yeah. Towards the end, obviously, we just had a disagreement on some things. and we weren't pretty much at an impasse. We couldn't see eye to eye, and the divorce was, looming. So that was Nick's part, right? But it gets deeper because Nick also talked about her being the R word, if you will. And we have to get to that because this occurred, I believe, through cross-examination. So this is a little deeper into his testimony. Okay. We don't need to talk about the business right here. So in 71. Okay. Do you believe that Miss Palome is stupid? Do you believe that? Just like all of us sometimes. So is that a yes? He says no. No? Question mark? Well, sometimes. Do you believe she's the R word? Bro says sometimes. Oh man. And do you still believe that she needs to grow the F up? Objection. Argumentative. Overruled. He says, yeah, I think we all do. So this is him trying to walk that line where they don't want to like go all in and yeah, she's dumb. Yeah, I think she's stupid. Well, everyone could be stupid at times, things like that. So we'll come back to this because they start asking about, remember when he said these women are lucky to talk to him? Without me, they would be long forgotten in the abyss. And there's only one Nick Palome. This was his Discord leaks. I believe they tried to get this into evidence earlier and it didn't, but it kind of played out in a funny way in that right here it's a little bit back and forth, but her lawyer was arguing I think this goes to his mindset, how he's treated Miss Palome during this case. During this, not only the marriage, but then the divorce process. And it also goes, to your honor, to his attitude about how he's going to treat her going forward. And, so what their positions are in the court is you can trust us. Now, would you trust someone that has your best interests if they're calling you stupid and the R word? Probably not. You can trust me that I'm going to watch out for her interests. And so I just want to be able to highlight that if, he's online streaming about these things, saying that these things will align, I'll get to that evidence. I believe it's relevant to that. All right. So this is what they're trying to put into it. But we got to go continue because on this page, it gets a little bit more interesting. Okay. So he says right here. So help me in the past. When you from time to time refer to her as stupid or the R word, would you agree that's talking down to her? He says, yeah. Yeah, I be talking down to my wife. Yep, sure do. And what type of impact do you believe it has on Malena, if any? Would you call her those type of names or talk to her? The same effect it had on me when she said it. So he's like, well, she said to me too. Objection. You know why? Because he didn't answer the question. All right. So the court is like, look, bro. Answer the goddamn question. But you're here, listen to your zone, answer the question. So what type of impact do you believe that you speaking on her, saying those things to her had on her mental health, if any? Now, he did a smart thing. He just said, I'm not sure. Well, you heard her testify, correct? I did. Did you hear her talk about the emotional toll it took on her? I did. Do you agree it took an emotional toll on her? She said so. So yeah. I'm not asking you what she said so. I'm asking whether you believe that's true. He said, I don't. Yo, Nick is cold-blooded, dog. So you think she's making it up? I do. Oh my God, dog. Oh my God. So do you agree with Miss Palome's position? Or do you understand the position that she does not want to go into business in which she has to be tied to you going forward? I understand her position. Look, think about this, right? He's on the record. He's like, yeah, I called her stupid. Yeah, I called her the R word. Yeah, I heard her say it's taking an emotional toll on her. Do you believe it's true?
Nope.
No, man, I think she's faking that stuff. And the court, the judge, actually forced her to go, and this is her business partner for better or worse. That's how the divorce played out. And what do you guys think? And do you believe that from your perspective, if she has to go into a business with someone that views as her abuser, that would be difficult for her emotionally? Can you repeat the question? Do you believe that if she's required to go into business with someone whom she believes is her abuser, that could be difficult for her emotionally? If she believes that, sure. Wow, dog. Now, one of the things I believe was addressed in your direct testimony with Mr. Payne was the issue of financial control. Do you remember the question regarding that? I think so. All right. So he hands him, P93. This is a big document. All right, because, he specifically say, look, man, I'm not putting you, LeBron James, Jesus, my mom, anyone on the goddamn account. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. All right, so he gives him that. And here, Miss Palome says to you that you're controlling me. Do you see that? I do. He says, and then you say, hey, R word, correct? And in this situation, she was asking for information about the bank accounts, correct? He like, I'm not sure she was asking about the bank account. Well, your response was, I asked my dad about that and he agrees. My mom didn't have access to that at all. Do you see that? Oh yeah, I understand now. Okay, so was she asking about access to the bank account? He like, incorrect. Okay, do you believe you have any fault? Like, he just gave up though right there. Like, her lawyer just gave up. He said, okay, do you believe you had any fault in the marriage? And he just says equally, yes. Like, bro, the lawyer should have kept going about the bank account stuff. I mean, I don't know how much it would have helped, but he should have kept going about it. All right. He ends up saying, it takes two to tango. So we're both at fault. We'll get into his faults later, but let's get back into Malena's testimony, right? Because it gets worse. Like, you're not going to believe some of the stuff he said to her. I promise you. So Malena, highlighted right here. What other education do you have after you moved here? None. She didn't get educated after being here. Now we're about to talk about verbal or emotional abuse. So you were talking about some of the things that Nick would, refer to you as, whether it's, the R word or you're dumb or anything like that. Were there any other types of verbal or emotional abuse that you dealt with Nick? And look what she say. She say this, right? Yes, pretty early on, Nick made it very clear that I would just follow his lead. We will succeed. And it made me think that I was just dumb all the time and that my opinions weren't heard. He said that he had to raise me because my parents didn't do a good job at it and that I need to grow up and that I'm not an adult. Bro. And I believe that until probably around 25. Yeah, that's when your frontal cortex fully develops. You, as a woman, right? Ain't that what they say? Hey, when they turn 25, they brain is fully developed. So yeah, she believed she was the R word and stupid and that, apparently her parents didn't raise her, right? And yeah, she believed it. I was like, okay, I'm an adult. I'm sorry. It's like hard to talk to like this. I've like suppressed a lot of it. But yes, we were very nice to each other. We were not very nice to each other. But I did believe from early on the things Nick had told me. Oh my God, dog. I looked at him as guidance and authority in my life, that he knew better than me. Bro, he's really looking like a pimp. like, that's my opinion, but bro, I mean, she's not on the street or anything, but Jesus Christ, the money's going into his account for 8 years. So what was your role, your responsibility with Nick's brand, or Mr. Palome's brand? Yes, I think that for many years, I've just been conditioned to keep quiet, which is why it's so hard to sit here and talk about it today. Man, it does look hard to talk about it. It feels like I'm doing something wrong, like just talking about this. So this is like some psychological conditioning, right? That Nick should never be criticized or talked about in any type of different light other than positive. So her doing this is just like, like out the ordinary. Now, the stuff I'm skipping is nothing to mention, but if you want to read through it, go ahead. Okay, so they're going to talk about income, right? So P2, your budget. This is the budget sheet. Do you have any income? No. She's like, I ain't making no money. She made a business. I spent this year preparing for her business. She wants to do an LLC. She wants to help other content creators the best they can be, because, you know, it's easy to sit down and turn on a stream. But me having experience for years doing this myself with Nick, I've experienced that it takes, and the knowledge that someone new in the business, or if they're not using their best potential, I want to help them use their best possible potential, that they can grow on their channel and become what they want to be. So it looks like she wants to be like a channel manager or help content creators. Do you believe that's something she can do well? She does. And that's something you have service believe you can offer content creators. Yeah, I've done this both for Nick, and then made events, several events, hosted events, ran full logistics, done the whole package for myself for OTK. Their most successful event was from something that I had created. So I do believe that I have expertise to do this. Now, she may see herself as just being honest, but this actually goes to the fact that why she doesn't need spousal maintenance. You combine that with the settlement, and she's saying she has skills to get a job and create a company. Here you go. So, you know, they talk about the event that she made for OTK in 2023, being a full weekend with all the streamers there. According to Tips Out, it was one of the best events. Okay, she was helping them make money. And do you believe it's going to take some time for your business to develop? Absolutely, because, you know, Nick did the tech parts, and for her to be able to do this on her own, she would have to find other ways to do this, you know, without Nick, like wasting, and she didn't want to, you know, I guess waste time. She said, I could do this while we were married. I still didn't want to waste marital funds on tech, making a business too early on, which is kind of smart. Like, you're going to see Nick, bro, this guy is ruthless. There's a trip that she took just to see mom. He was like, nah, it's waste. What about the trip you took? Nah, it's business. This guy, ruthless guy. I'm not even lying. I'm not trying to like be biased, but it's like the writing's on the wall. Okay. So tell the court, if you could, what are the things you believe you were at fault for as far as the breakup of the relationship? This is where like, oh, sorry, it's the wrong one. That was her testimony, his testimony. Sorry about that. Okay. She goes on to say, I want to do this on my own. Wait, let's get this part in. And I didn't want to waste marital funds on tech or making a business too early. And this is a very important part. Frankly, I don't really want to be tied to Nick anymore. Hence, hey, I don't want the stock. I just want the money. I don't want to be tied to this guy anymore. I want to do this on my own because I've always just been, Nick has told me what I can do always. Damn. Yeah, for like over a decade, right? Since she was 16, 17? Nick has been her boss. Oh man. So I want to do this on my own without him and without OTK. Does that involve you streaming? No, I do not want to be in front of a camera. If I have to be in front of a camera, it will be more so running in the background with useful items to fix the stream or something. I don't want to be a personality, and I don't want me to be used for entertainment. I rather want to help other people be entertaining. I've never really wanted to be a streamer. I did it because I was instructed that this was the best that I could do to succeed. And I feel like I've used every ounce of my body, all of my personal problems, everything has been aired out, and it's very traumatic. And the tip of the iceberg was my mom's cancer and the PR that I received last year when Nick abandoned me, went to Amsterdam with his online girlfriend, where I was mocked into oblivion on various forums that just poke fun of. And I do not want to be poked fun of someone else's expense. My name isn't even on our channel, which I've asked Nick several times, please put my name on the Twitch channel. Like, make me part of this team. I'm just working 24/7 for someone else.
That's a truthful statement.
She's cooking. She is cooking, man. She is cooking, man. And what was his response? No, he says the name he is the face and that he made me feel replaceable no matter what I did. But I did my absolute best. Man. And right now you're currently receiving $7,500 a month in spousal maintenance. Yeah. And do you have any other income? No. And that's why you're requesting spousal maintenance? Yes. They're going to talk about this apartment, right? The apartment that she rents is rather expensive. Why did you choose to rent that apartment? Well, I want to be honest about this. I was looking for a short-term lease because I didn't intend to expect it to go this long. All right, so she's living in Texas. The apartment complex is one of the people that would work for me with remotely while I was still in Spain. I didn't want to go back here and go back to our old house where Nick lives. Oof. Oh, man. That is the house Nick resides at. I didn't want to go back there and be pushed around anymore or try to be convinced to change my mind after he had done all these things to me. So I found the Bowen. I liked it, and I could have chosen a cheaper apartment. I will admit to that. I mean, I wouldn't admit to that. Like, hey, I needed this. It was essential expense. I could have chosen some dark dungeon in the basement and sat there and cried alone. But I really liked the apartment. It had big windows. I feel like it was good for my mental health. And it was nice to have something where it was just me there. And I make the rules there. Damn, man. This is where she said she makes the rules there. She's always been under someone else's rules. I don't think people understand the impact that can have on a person, especially when you were 16 when you met this person. And 2 years later, 3 years later, marriage, and then you're married for like 10 years. Ah, man, it's all you know. All you know. She's like, look, I would like a car. She want a car. She would also like to pay for her own insurance because that is currently, I don't know if Nick is still paying for. Haven't talked to him about it, but yes, all of this looks correct. All right. Yeah, she got an electric bike. Okay, she's just going through it. Also, you got a house in Norway. What's the property value? 170,000? That's what they purchased it for. They don't know. They keep going. And we keep going. And you're asking then regarding we haven't updated the balances for some of the screenshots we received, but you're asking for the bulk of the funds that are available in the Chase accounts that Nick has, correct? Yeah. On lines 6 and 7. So when she says lines 6 and 7, she's talking about this spreadsheet, right? So you remember this spreadsheet, the Chase accounts? She wanted the bulk of the money over here in the Chase accounts. That's where we're talking about lines 6 and 7. NMPLOL Productions, they keep going. Yes. Business expenses, yes, multiple times. And the accounts that you would use, well, I already asked, did you have any say on how Nick would use the accounts with NMPLOL? No. So, no, not really. There was one time where Nick asked me if he could spend $5,000 to give to his mom, but that's about as far as I can recall. One of the only times that he's ever discussed that he can and can't buy. And then he also requested money to start a podcast last year. But no, I don't really have any say. I couldn't disagree. If I said no, there would always be, it didn't matter. Well, yeah, who are you, Malena, to tell me, Nick, how to spend our money that's in an account where your name is not on it? like what? The members of the, okay, so now they're talking about OTK, right? The owners of OTK, there's a lot of dramatics over there. This is her testimony. So I don't know who still is the owner or not. I know it's Nick and another streamer, Esfand. That's Esfand. And then you have Asmongo, which is a political streamer. That's Asmongo. I guess she's spelling this out. Then you have Tips Out, who's the CEO. Was also an owner. I don't know if Mizkif is still an owner. Mizkif's still up in this joint coming up. Mizkif was or is an owner. I'm not sure if he's an owner anymore. His name is spelled Mizkif. And you're friends with these individuals? No, not really. I just been like, no, F them all. Okay. And they talk about, the inception of OTK. Okay. He told her they wanted to make a streamer group, to make content organization where they all support each other and go on each other's channels. but the payout would be their collective efforts together with shares in the company as opposed to being paid monthly. So they're putting in sweat equity. So they would network with each other and boost each other's audiences. That's what I was told in the start. In the start, there was more owners, founders, and now because various people have left, been kicked out of the organization. Ooh, Jesus Christ. So they go on to take out P96, right? Now, the reason I was, showing exhibits is because they came up. And that way we don't have to go through the exhibits when I knew we were going to have this. P96, right? Remember P96 is right here. This is, I believe, the OTK in shambles, He's like, I'll burn this shit down before I build it up for you. You have things like that, man, that he would say to her. Like, I imagine he said, like, look, man, I'm going to ruin your life, right? Hey, Nick or Malena, did he ever say he was going to ruin your life? Or Nick, you going to confirm it or you going to deny it? When you going to speak on it? Or maybe Dean to speak on it. I'd be, I'm going to ride with Nick no matter what. All right, anyway, I'm not going to rebuild. I'm not going to rebuild it if my half of the income is taken away. Hey, yeah, he's referencing to me and him being married still. And then I would be gaining money from him working. So he told me both here and on the phone that the time that he would rather not work at all if I was going to earn income from that, what he was doing. Damn. He told her on the phone, bro, go butt it. And he would also told me on the phone that he would rather burn it to the ground or leave or dump all the shares so I don't get anything. And he tried to force me to stay quiet. I'm guessing she referencing the NDA. Oh, and remember, the judge said, hey, this is your new business partner. Oh, man. So what's your comfort level? I'm not comfortable working with them. I don't really have faith in them. I don't think that I personally think they are there to protect their organization at all costs, even if it hurts people around them. Yeah, dog. You don't care. P78. I guess this is the Miskiff lawsuit, right? And he was the one you're referring to earlier as Miskiff. Is that correct? Yeah. And you did review this lawsuit? Yeah, I reviewed it. From what I see, Miskiff and his firm here are talking about essentially OTK voted him out. The board of OTK voted him out, and they took his shares without payment from him. So if you are Malena, right, and you're like, well, shit, didn't y'all just kick Miskiff out? Didn't y'all just vote him off the island and take his shares? And you think she like, oh, yeah, I'm so thrilled to go into business with you guys. I love how you're all good friends with Nick and how you just treated Miskiff, one of the original founders. Yeah, for him, sorry. Let me reframe it. She says, they took his shares in the company and they didn't pay him for that. Oof. And then does that give you confidence? No, not at all. I have zero faith. I don't doubt that this would happen to me as well. And it's very scary going into business with a group of friends who can just kick you out if they don't want you there without payment for your shares. I mean, oof, man, hate to see it. And do you know how difficult it has been litigating this to get information from OTK? Yeah, dog. She like, we can't get nothing from OTK. Yeah, I think it could have been done a lot faster. Now, this is major right here. Now, when did you find out about the dilution of shares? Her lawyer says objection. He says a few days ago. She bursts out and says a few days ago. Now look, she was supposed to stop. Objection leading. Sorry. And then that's when the court says, hey, when you hear an objection, don't answer. All right. She's like, oh, okay. Have you heard anything about dilution of shares? Yes. When did you hear about the dilution of shares? A few days ago. What did you hear? I learned our shares in OTK have been, I don't know the correct term, diluted, dissolved. Is diluted the word? Objection calls for hearsay. Well, the court is the judge. Well, she said, I learned our shares have been diluted. Man. It lacks foundation. Yes, it was not asked as what is your personal knowledge. I'm going to actually rephrase it. All right, so they're like, hey, can you rephrase it? I mean, but Jesus Christ, is this the people you really want to go into business with? Or you're like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, they diluted shares. Yes, sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. No. Okay. Now let's get to Nick's testimony. Let's go to 65. Right. Okay. In 65. Where they talk about the whole constructive trustee, right? You know, remember, Nick is going to say any and everything to keep her in the company, right? You don't want to pay money for these shares because who's going to buy them? If you were named as constructive trustee for Malena's 50% of the OTK shares, you understand you have a fiduciary duty to Ms. Malone, right? Yeah, I understand. You know, and would you agree to this subject to that duty? Sorry, would you agree to that duty? Oh, yeah, of course. You're like, yeah, of course, man. Of course, man. Hey, whatever you say, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sure, man. I'm in it to win it, man. The next question. In the event that, options made available for purchase, to the extent that those options are attributable to her or made available to her, would you agree to provide any consent necessary for those to exercise options? Like, would you approve her shares being sold? Yeah, dog, I'm on the board. Of course, I want the best for her. Psych. Oh my Lord, man. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous that like she's in business with him. I just don't agree with that. I understand he could have been on the payment plan to pay it out, and they got equity in Starforge and Mythic Talent. They could have did something with that, but if the company does well, your shares increase, right? Hopefully, yeah. The company does poorly, you decrease in value, correct? But if he didn't pay nothing for him, I mean, who cares, right? Would you agree that you have skin in the game by maintaining shares of OTK under your proposal? Yes. So that was his lawyer, right? So now let's get to the cross-examination where we go back to fault. Like, whose fault was it, right? And you're going to see some brutal. You're going to see Nick and his brutality, if you will. And I was just like, what? Oh, man. So your fault is the same as Miss Palom's, correct? Yes, it takes two to tango. Okay, what could you have done better? He's like, looking back at it, I definitely could have been more patient. As Malena testified, she's very emotional, and I probably didn't handle that the best. I did the best that I could with, the tools I had at the time, and it just didn't work out. I mean, she smartened up. I mean, you couldn't pull the wool over her eyes. You couldn't do this whole, well, money can just go on my account. Don't ask no questions. Okay, so, but you could have been more patient, correct? I wouldn't say be nicer because we talk to each other this way all the time. He's talking about how he talked to her because this is her lawyer. Like, hey, man, what do you mean fault? Explain that. You have exhibits both ways. Both, I did the best I could. So he's like, oh, I did the best, man. I did the best. I mean, I guess. I'm going to show you the document P97. Remember, P97 is this document where this was his I'm sorry for 2004. For 9 years you had my back. 1 year you needed me, I failed you. And you're going to see what he says about this, right? Okay, we know that they're Discord messages between, them two. Are they accurate, unedited? Yeah, they're unedited. So in the messages, December 2nd, you say, I'm sorry, 9 years you had my back, correct? In what ways did Miss Palome have your back over the 9-year period? She was my wife. I mean, she was my editor, channel manager. She was the one I can convince to have money go in the account without her name on it. She was that. I mean, like I said, do you want, is that the only way you had your back? Do you want me to go into great detail about it? Or I'm just trying to understand what you meant when you said that, sir. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. It was great until it wasn't, sir. How did she have your back? A good wife. She cared, loving. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. And how did you fail her? I couldn't give up the whole year and spend time with her in Spain when her mom was like she wanted. So basically, you're apologizing that you couldn't be in Spain with her. Is that correct? Pretty much. Yeah, late night message. I'm sad because of a breakup of a marriage. It's hard, but yeah. And just to be clear, I believe based upon your prior testimony, this is about the time period where you had your best year streaming, correct? Yeah. I know it's a little out of order, but it flows a little better. Just trust me on it. And, you know, I think you said your most successful year, I believe, or excuse me, month, correct? Yeah. Look, he had a month where he made a couple $100,000. So more than all of the people that watch him probably make. And what award did you win? He like, man, I won the Streamer's Choice Award. The Cutie Cinderella, I'm Cool with Cutie Cinderella Award. So there's a whole bunch of different categories. I think it was nominated for maybe 3 categories. And on top of that, the streamers, when they go, they get to vote for streamers. All the streamers voted to be their favorite streamer. when we gonna see the back end of the votes? I think this is the most prestigious award you can get because peers speak so highly of you, bro. Hey, that award then went to his head, dog. And I want to kind of turn it to the finances overall. I'm going to show you a document P107. They talk about the tax return. All right. Remember, Nick was making bank, or they were making bank. Well, somebody was making bank. We really can't ascertain where like all the money went, right? You got to think like, bro, you was making $1 million a year. He never invested in anything. That's odd. That's suspicious. So they're just going over the taxes, asking questions. So with respect to the 2023, the gross receipts were 1.4 million. Is that correct? Yeah. According to this. Yeah. And the goods were approximately 64,000. Is that correct? According to this. And then the gross profit was $1.34 million. Oh my Lord. Oh my. Because you got to think, he's like, oh yeah, it took me $64,000 to generate 1.4 million. So yes, the profit was $1.34 million. Oh my God, bro. I don't even know. Like, what do you do with that money? I don't know. I can't talk about what I think what happened to me if I made that much money. Okay, so let's get back serious. Sorry, guys. I don't even know the cost of goods. I'm not a tax. I'm not like well versed in whatever that is. So hey, I'm just a rich guy. I don't know shit about taxes. That's the role he's playing. And what would those be? They're talking about the travel expenses. I really don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a tax person. And going to P108, the 2024 tax firm, you and her, correct? Yeah. And this previous been admitted. And so it's shown here for 2024, the total income was 1.065 million. Is that correct? Yeah, sure. Bro made over $2 million in 2 years. Crushing it. I got money. But not one investment. Totally makes sense, right? Totally makes sense. You know, dad right here, dad would probably never tell him, hey, son, don't buy anything. If you want to invest, talk to me. And people are buying it. I don't buy it for a second. But, what comes up in divorce comes up with divorce. Now, what was she responsible for? This is where you like player. How would you attribute as far as that income, the percentage for you and Miss Palone? Like, which of the income is mine and which is hers? Yeah. Yes. Like, what is she responsible for? Correct. I mean, I probably brought in like 95% of it, if not like 99% of that. So let me explain this to you guys. She is told to be on his stream, to be on his channel, to make content for him. And whatever money she gets from her channel and whatever editing she does is counted as her contributions. Well, think about this. Is that fair? Right? Is that fair to say that she only accounts for maybe 1% of it because she's on his channel, which he sees as his channel for free. But people saw it as a joint channel. You saw him, you saw her. So in my mind, she's working for him. But in his mind, he's like, no, she's just on my channel. That's why 99% is me, because 99% is coming from my channel and 1% is coming from whatever she got going on personally. I mean, how do you guys see it? How do you guys see it? Okay. And have you done anything for 2025 taxes yet? No, we do that in April. All right. And so you indicate that your gross money earned per month is $60,000. This ninja is making $60,000 when he wasn't $60,000 a month, not even streaming. Remember, on average, he making $1 million a year. So when you like, oh yeah, I'm 60 racks up, you like, God damn, 60 racks? Yeah, 60 racks, dog. What you doing over there? What you doing over there? It changes, but yeah. So when I came up to 60,000 per month, what did you come up with? What did you use, or what did you apply the determination amount? I think I just looked at the last 3 months. He looked at the last 3 months of income and how much money I made. Then I just divided it by 3. Okay. Okay. So when you say the money that you made, what are you referring to? The money that has come into my business. Okay. And so at this point, September 2025, you had not been streaming, at least per your prior testimony, for 9 months, correct? That is not necessarily what I said. I can clarify if you want. You had not been streaming on your channel for at least 9 months, correct? That's not true. And were you not live streaming for 2025, correct? I did plenty of live streaming in 2025 at the start. Okay. So, and presumably your income would have been higher for the earlier parts of 2025 than even 60 per month because you were still streaming, correct? Sorry, can you rephrase that? When did you stop streaming? Maybe about 5 or 6 months ago, June 2025. I would have to double check. So in spite of the fact that you have not been streaming for June, July, and August 2025, as you indicated, based upon your review, you said you looked back 3 months and you still making 60,000 per month, correct? Yo, he got a machine. He's printing money. He's printing money. This document make you wrong. I'm not sure. I'll have to look back. He don't want to cop out to making 60 a month not streaming. You know, because hey, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's 60 a month. I mean, like, so his lawyer could have been like, is it more than 10,000 a month? Is it more than 20,000 a month? Is it more than 40,000 a month? Things like that. Okay, so you're changing your prior testimony. There we go. So you're changing your prior testimony. You previously testified that you're relying on your last 3 income months of income, and you looked at the documents in order to come up with the 60,000 per month. Are you changing that now, sir? And when was this document? When did you submit this? September 2025. Okay, again, I'm not sure. I was thinking about the first time we did this. Maybe just never change. So he's trying to like lock him in to the $60,000 per month. That's all he's trying to do right here. I mean, I've been in court so many times. And to be clear, based upon your statements, you indicated that your monthly budget is $25,000 per month. Yeah. And you put your budget is $2,000 a month for travel, correct? Sure. They're just going through like the spreadsheet to try to like verify his stuff. Okay. Now this is some brutal stuff, right? Okay. So you're agreeing that you're going to withdraw your waste claim from Miss Paloms for traveling home, right? Because she wanted to go home. She went home. He had a traveling budget of $2,000. I think she spent $3,000 to go see her mom. And he was like, no. He was like, to see her mother? No. Okay. So to the extent that you travel, then would you agree with me that's a waste claim? No, bro. She went to go see her mom. He was like, oh, hey, that's wasting our marital funds. Oh, my Lord. Okay. So your travel is not a waste claim, but Miss Paloms is that correct? Absolutely. Bro, look, bro's a millionaire trying to cook his ex-wife over $3,000. Hey, man, hey, when they say love is gone, right? Okay. I'm going to return now, sir, to a document marked P4. What did you look at to determine the $60,000 per month for the income? So they're still going back about this income. But I'm pretty sure we could stop right there, right? On this one. The biggest takeaway, his travel is for the show. Hers is not. Now, as we start winding down to this, you're going to start to see Malena's testimony start to basically ramp up, right? Because we got to go to 44. I kind of skip over all them talking about like delays in documents for the purpose of legal fees, because it really is just like no one really cares about the legal fees, right? Okay, so what is this? Here it says ring consent was adopted for December 3rd. What's this about? We received, I believe, Wednesday, Thursday that passed. All right. Do you see that? Yes. Okay. Did you receive this document about December 3rd? Okay. So this is December 3rd. Okay. This is why she doesn't trust OTK. I did not hear about this until a few days ago. And I heard about this from Nick, from the CEO of OTK. I have heard about it through my attorneys a few days ago. She's like, look, I didn't hear from this. And with this adoption, the stock plan under paragraph 2, it says it's going to adopt a new additional stock plan under which employees may be offered an opportunity to acquire equity and interest in the company. Is that correct? So now employees is like, hey, guess what? They about to be owners too. Okay. She's like, yeah, that's what it says. And did Mr. Polam talk to you about this opportunity? No, I've not seen this. I did not know about this until a few days ago. I have not heard anything about this from Nick. I think this goes to the dilution claim of diluting the shares, because if these new employees are getting stock, or whose portfolios are coming out of, whose, you know, that's the $1 million question. Who is it coming out of? This is why it's tough for her to go into business with these people, because she's like, look, I really don't trust them. Okay. And to be clear, that date was December 3rd, 2025. Is that correct? Like, so right before the trial. Do you know why this presumably wasn't, Mr. Payne, did you hear in his opening statement saying this document wasn't created until last week, January 7th? I believe what I said. Did you hear that in his opening? Yeah, I heard that. Is this just a simple example of your concern about going into business with Mr. Polam, Tips, and Esfand? Yeah, amongst other things. This is where she's about to cook Esfand. I think they're all a boys club. They are friends with each other. They have each other's backs. They will protect each other. Whenever one of them has done something wrong, they will have each other's backs and support each other. That's true. Because each of these influencers are protecting each other by how bad they can be in the public eye. Whereas the people who took the downfall for what actually happened, they sit there and they feel fooled. So sorry. Long answer short, I think they would do anything to protect each other, even if it's not become completely ethical. Is that something you observed in the past? Yes. Personally experienced this. This is where she about to cook. I mean, I publicly took the blame for a bad PR moment that was created by one of the owners, Esfand. I publicly took the blame for that in order for OTK to not terminate Esfand as an owner, because he made another woman feel uncomfortable. Ooh, just the Ming, speak out. And I stood up to her. I stood up to Esfand for her on a live stream. Ooh. Hey, dog. They look, man. I'm not shocked about this, right? And I bet Asmongold knows all about this. He's like the puppet master of these guys. And he probably knows about Esfand, and Esfand probably has a goddamn history of making women feel uncomfortable. But you know, what ends up happening in Austin, let's just say you're a female streamer, you want to like make it big out there. If you have a bad interaction with one of these guys, if you go public, you're out the circle, you're out the networking. Most people in Twitch, the successful ones, they have a thing of collaboration. And Asman goes on record saying, yeah, what he did to Casey Tron, he told people stop hanging with her. So, you know, think about other people coming out against these guys. Bad news bears. But, you know, Esfand hasn't said shit about Malena. I wonder, is it because she took the blame? I wonder. I guess we may never know. Esfand, tap in. I mean, they still talk. They're trying to get Esfand's name right. They talk about Tips Out, the CEO. Have there been any other people who have been canceled as a part of OTK? Yeah, there's been a lot of dramatics canceled. Do you want me to explain what the term cancel mean, or does everyone here know what that cancel mean? Cancel means you either get deplatformed or the public starts hating you so much that people don't want to associate with you anymore. It's a real thing. Sponsors or people around you are afraid to like touch you or vouch for you because then you will be part of their cancel train. So it's like getting deplatformed. It's like the worst thing that could happen to an influencer. Sorry, can you repeat that? Can you repeat the question? I got lost in the answer. Look, she's doing a lot of testimony. It's a lot of stuff going on back and forth. This has been a lot to deal with. So this is what she's saying. Okay. Keep going. You're fine. This kind of also, I believe, dovetails the fact that you're requesting an extension of an injunction. That's correct, right? Yeah, I got the extension she requested, but I kind of just want to focus on this, right? Because she wasn't getting the documents. So she filed for like a continuance. Then she wanted like the value of her shares to be secured. So, and she was like, look, I have no intent to talk about our private marriage publicly or make entertainment or be a subject on a podcast. I do not want to be putting my personal problems, my trauma, and our personal struggles in front of an audience to have someone capitalize off my emotions and struggles. So, no, sorry. I've said that many times. No. This was in request. So your first request was Mr. Palom applied to both of you making public statements. This is about the injunction. She's like, I want an injunction. I don't want this fool talking, making statements, whatever. Now, we know this gets denied. All right. Okay. Because she's like, look, I'm not going to talk. In the leak, so to speak, that occurred earlier this year, that's something that you wanted to occur. She says, no. That was pretty scary. My discovery, got leaked. It's a public record, girl. I know you told me to KYS myself, but it's a public record. It got leaked. I don't know why this case, or I looked at YouTube video and that guy, bro, that guy that he paid to get it. None of us know why this happened. Bro, am I that guy? Bro, am I getting mentioned? I'm the only guy who said I paid to get it. Like, I put in a request. You get an email. They say, hey, here's the money. I paid the money. I got the documents. But it's pretty scary because they have my contact information on there. My full name is there. It says very sensitive information on there that I don't want people to know. Dog, I've never used the court to contact any one of y'all. When I filed discovery, that's information for Nick. That's not meant for anyone else. I can't recall if my address on there. It's a security breach. I live alone. I don't want to be just terrified of who can randomly show up because this has happened in the past when I live with Nick. I had a stalker that got arrested that lives in Travis County, actually. And he got arrested on the basis of harassment. And ever since that, I've been very scared dealing with people and having people know my private information. So no, I absolutely did not want my discovery out in public. Well, look, a lot of people don't want their stuff out, but this is very educational. People can learn like how divorce works, questions that get asked in court, things like that. The court doesn't a broad injunction asking it to be more narrow in November. Like, I don't think she really like grasped it, this whole injunction thing, to be honest, because it comes up further. She like injunction versus seal. It was like some confusion there. It could be like a language thing. I think Nick's talked to the community servers about a lot of things, but no, Nick has not streamed since then. That is what you're asking about. He's been on other people's streams, but he's not utilized the modified injunction to stream his own channel. And they're going to talk about where's his income. His main income is from Twitch, right? So if a live stream lasts for 4 hours, you would take the most interesting aspects. She's just talking about how you monetize it. You break it down. 10-minute YouTube videos, 6-second short, 10-second short, YouTube, based on the algorithm favors. The main source of entertainment comes from Twitch. Her answering this question just shows that she could make money doing this. Okay. Have you have any concerns about it? Yes. I think that he could if he wanted to. Nick has the channel that we built up over 1 million followers to. He's sitting with the money-making system for himself. He has the opportunity to go live if he wants to. I don't know why he hasn't done it. Yeah. So, I mean, he wasn't going to stream. You could profit from it. He just wasn't going to do that. I can imagine that maybe this divorce is still bothering him, or if he does feel like he can't sit in front of an audience yet, I can empathize with that, but I don't have concerns that he's not utilizing the platform we have built together in a way that he should or could. Sorry, I'm going to rephrase could. Could. And when the two of you would stream in the past, would you stream on your channel or his? I streamed for probably a month or two very unseriously in 2019. I went through a tremendous weight loss experience, gained confidence, been in front of the camera. Whereas in those years before that, I had been shown on camera and I would be hiding from the camera. So yes, after I streamed on my channel for 1 to 2 months, I gained confidence. And then Nick convinced me to stream with him on his channel and said we will be doing better together. And from there, it grew tremendously from a few hundred viewers to sometimes we would average over 35,000 viewers during the live stream, and that hundreds of thousands of different people coming to stream every day. But the problem is, it's just on his channel and he just sees it as his channel.
Flashback.
Just like you have a Twitch career now because of nepotism, go ahead.
No, I have a Twitch career now because I chose to. I didn't go on stream for 6 years because I didn't want to. Now I finally chose to be on stream. So I think you have a Twitch career now because of nepotism.
I do, yeah.
I chose to come on here.
Well, because of chance in Greek.
False, because you were sitting at 200 viewers whenever you live with chance. Then I came on your stream and now you're fine.
End of flashback.
She goes on to talk about the GTR. All right. And how she didn't want it. She didn't want the GTR because that's his dream car. It's like his baby. He modified it. He's taking care of it. His pride and joy. So I'm not going to take his baby from him. Bro, there's some women out there like, no, I want half of it. Okay, you don't want to give it to me? Sell it. We'll split the proceeds. So she's giving them some grace. Okay. They're going to wait till after lunch to address the Pokemon card. So you're asking that we pull up your waste spreadsheet. Now remember, waste was a big thing, right? Because she had a big document. Here's the waste claim from all the Neiman Marcus charges, the big ones, the David Yurmans, and this thing totaled like $100,000, over $100,000. All right, do you recognize it? Yeah. What about the column where you're getting information? Is that the Bates number right? As far as the bank statements, credit card statements you pulled it from? Yes. Okay, so they're talking about that. The number credit card is his personal credit card. And these expenses are, as far as I can recall, for luxury items that would be given to other women. Because she's like, look, you spending our money on Kachi, Nora. That should be us, okay? We're talking about the restaurant bar trip. What do you know about that? Like, this is like the real nitty gritty. They talk about when he went to Vegas with his girlfriend. And how do you know? Okay. This happened to me actually in real life. My ex, because Nick contacted me a few days before it happened because he accidentally bought the first class plane tickets to Vegas with Travel Points Portal on Chase. And what he is unaware of before ordering those tickets, that I was usually the one handling the points in travel. I would try to get us anywhere that we could. I was more frugal, so I would try the best that I could to points hunting and for us to travel. Sorry, I'm yapping here. She said, I'm yapping here, man. But that's how she found out about the trip. Like, oh yeah, him and his girlfriend, Kachi, went to Vegas. Now, he's going to argue that that was a business trip for whatchamacallit. But, it is what it is. Did he also post the content online? Yes, but can I finish my answer? Yes. What were you referring to as far as? I was referring to that I accidentally got an email where he had bought first class tickets for him and his girlfriend. It was sent to my email, so that's the only reason why I was made aware of that. Got it. And were those dates in Las Vegas when Mr. Palone was there with his girlfriend? Do those dates line up? Yes. And the Cartier, do you know what that was? Yes, that's a bracelet for Nick's girlfriend purchased in the Philippines. So he buying her Cartier bracelets. I actually want one day when I'm not getting sued or suing people. I'll probably get one. And Mr. Palone went to the Philippines with his girlfriend. Yeah, he did. Yes. He was in the Philippines. Yeah. I mean, he took her to the Philippines. What are you going to do? That's correct. And do you believe that he's only making $5,000 a month? No, I don't think he's making $5,000 because you know what these rich guys do. You get your LLC. You know, the LLC could be making $1 million a month. You're like, oh, I only pay myself $5,000 a month. What are you talking about? I just pay myself $5,000. I only make $5,000. The business is booming, but I'm only making $5,000. All right, now they talk about the whiskey tactile arm for because like they're arguing over waste. She knows what it's for. It's a gun range. Do you know what gun he bought? No, I think this is the place that I think of. You can go. You can rent guns, ammunition. You know, things like that. This is kind of like rinky-dink, petty, but it comes up. It comes up. I mean, he wanted to take away her mom's trip. She like, well, what about the tactical zero whiskey trip? Like you're gonna see a lot of this back and forth, right? What about the chain? The $28,000 chain? Yeah, it's kind of like it's rinky-dink stuff, man. The Cuban link chain. It's a diamond chain. All right. He made it. And what about the payment? The $1,500 payment he made to his girlfriend? That's his girlfriend. Yeah. You know that was $1,500 used for? I don't know. And she's like, yeah, the total waste is $108,000. So you have that. You're like, he spent the $108,000. She took off the Uber rides because who cares about the Uber rides? And these are Mr. Palome's financial accounts. Yeah. So she's going through his money. Now let's kind of get back to Nick's testimony. All right. So we bouncing around on Nick's because like Nick's is kind of like, it's low key boring, right? He's saying everything you expect him to say to eliminate giving up more money or paying spousal maintenance. So let's talk about this, right? That necklace. You heard testimony about a purchase. We'll start with the purchase of the necklace. Can you describe that? Yeah, so that necklace I purchased before the divorce was filed, I was coming off probably one of the best months ever. Probably, you know, couple $100,000 I made. God damn. And I thought that necklace specifically because I was nominated for an award for the Streamer Awards. It's like the Oscars for streamers, bro. Is the Cutie Cinderella Friend Awards like the Oscars for the streamers? And you know, a lot of people I was nominated with had these necklaces. Okay, so he's following people. It's part of the style, you know. So I ended up buying a Cuban link chain. It is approximately $28,000, and I actually ended up winning. So you know, it was bought specifically for that. As a streamer, there are ever times when you make a purchase, you're intended to enhance your viewership. This is his lawyer asking this question. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. A lot of things that we can do as streamers, we're very lucky. We're able to show things, people that they normally don't do. You know, for example, OTK got the big mansion, you know, that was listed before, you know, to show it, to live there. We somewhat sell an experience to our viewers. You know, they could see it through our eyes because many people can do that sort of stuff, right? So the purchase, we were very lucky. We were able to, you know, live like this, and a lot of those things are business write-offs. Yeah, they are business write-offs. Yes. Did you pay the amount of rent? No. For the lease, he did not pay a single dollar for that place. So he's like, look, the big mansion, that was OTK Media. Okay, that was part of the kick deal. All right, where they signed up for 10 streams. They would pay a certain amount of money for those 10 streams. And as part of that deal, they included rent for that place. It was supposed to be for a year, but they canceled it after 6. But we canceled it after 6. And they did it to make money for the company. You have things like that. Now, as we keep going through Nick's testimony, like I said, we bounced around because it really wasn't that interesting. Like I know his lawyer spent like a decent amount of time trying to argue lawyer fees. So they go back on the record. Okay, would you agree that now this is where his lawyer is trying to prove a point that how much money Malena is getting, she should not get legal fees. Okay, she like, look, she should not get legal fees because look, hey, the amount she's gonna get paid out based on his offer was $450,000. Do you believe that's the amount of cash you're offering, proposing that she received this division would allow her the ability to get back on her feet post-divorce? He like, absolutely. Most people don't have that amount of money. Do you believe that she has a need for spousal maintenance? No. He like, no, she don't have a need for spousal maintenance. Okay. I want the court to deny that request. Yeah, she can get a job. He's crushing it. Okay. I mean, like crushing isn't like arguing for his point. Now, turning to NMPLOL Productions, you heard testimony from limited testimony from experts on this entity. Could you describe what it is? Yeah, sure. Essentially, Nick and Productions is just an LLC where I run all my money through. I make through it because I have a whole bunch of different revenue streams and it's kind of hard to see what's going on if it's just going into a non-business account. It helps out my tax people. So it's just, sole proprietor LLC. And you incorporated that company during the marriage? Yes. Yes, I did. That means it's half hers. Are you the sole owner of the company? Yeah. At the top of the spreadsheet, you saw a line, estate for Norway. Yeah. Are you proposing Ms. Malone be awarded that? Yes. So remember, the house stuff is like right here. So this top line right here, 4, this is the Norway house. That's what they're talking about. Yeah, she's the one who wanted it, to your knowledge. Your name is on the title. Who really cares about that? Did he get a bonus in 2025? The answer is no. I'm just kind of scrolling through because we're just going to get to the highlighted parts. If you want to pause it, you can. Okay. Now, are you aware that you would, in the event, have a fiduciary duty to Ms. Malone for the shares? Yeah, I also have it to myself. I wouldn't want the shares ever to decrease in value. I don't think he cares about OTK. OTK is dead. Okay. OTK is dead. And if Ms. Malone were to receive half of those shares, would you cooperate in selling them? Of course. Like he's not going to say no. All right. Now the court has a thing where they just like, would you cooperate? And he's just like, yeah, he's not going to say, no, I'm not selling or nothing. He's not going to say that. He talks about how, he didn't finish college and how the sale of the shares work. Okay. Things like that. I know I'm paraphrasing, but it ain't, like I said, it's not too much to Nick's testimony. Okay. It's not. He wanted to give her half of King Gaming Labs. And the proposal you're acting to the court is you divide any proceeds from those shares because he wanted to sell them. As you heard testimony, King Gaming Labs from experts, what type would you agree King Gaming Labs is? A larger company, OTK Media? Of course it is. They got a brick and mortar store, people working there. They talk about the Nissan vehicle. You're asking to keep that, of course. And of course, the Cadillac issue is in the process of potentially being resolved. Yes. So he's, giving her the Cadillac. He wants to keep his skins because why not? As we keep going, community funds were wasted by Ms. Malone. Yes. And walk me through that a bit. You're going down below. I'm asking the court to award or order Ms. Malone to pay a portion of your attorney fees. Like, who cares about attorney fees? In the end, they were ordered to pay their own attorney fees. All attorney fees throughout the divorce were already kind of like paid for by the community estate, if I'm not mistaken. They're talking about like, do you think these fees were needed or not? It does not matter because we know the outcome. Now they're talking about the accounts because remember, when you get married, anything you create while married, it's half hers. Anything before that is yours. So they're talking about the Twitch accounts, the YouTube accounts, because you want her name on the accounts. But if they were created before they were married, they're his. Okay. He's like, yeah, I want to keep my accounts. All right. Keep them because they were separate property. And you're asking the court to grant you a divorce on the grounds of insupportability. Yeah, he wants the insupportability divorce. You're asking the court to deny a request for relief except for those whereas the agreement put on the record. Yeah, he doesn't want her to get no relief. This is pretty standard stuff. They're going to touch on the waist, right? And I'll touch on the waist a little bit later on in terms of the judgment. I'm going to actually show you the spreadsheet itself. Clarity, scrolling at the bottom. Do you see the request for judgment against you in the 1.4 million, the red number? Yes. Okay. If you were to divide the estate as Miss Paloma is proposing, or even as you propose, do you believe that you have sufficient funds in which to pay that judgment? No, he wouldn't. Okay, so you want the court to deny that request. Do you believe you have the ability to anywhere in the near future to pay that? No, like bro is going to make that back in like 1 year tops, maybe a couple months, depending on how much he could get Couchy out there, you know, and get the clips clipping. So you're asking the court to deny the request for judgment? Yeah, of course. So currently my LLC just pays me like $5,000 a month. So he's technically making $5,000 a month. If you believe it, cool. If you don't, I mean, what are you going to do? That's what his taxes say. I mean, someone tried to come at me like that today. Oh, snap. And before the onset of the divorce proceeding, were you earning more? Yes. Well, yeah. Duh. Now, in the streaming war, from your experience, describe how that works for streamers when you talk about shelf life. Okay, so Nick is about to give you an insight to his mind, how it works, probably why he's dating Couchy, who's much younger, and how streaming works, right? So you're getting into his mind. Okay, sure. Streamers essentially look at them like social trends, you know, for you're only popular for so long, just like in movie stars or anything like that. I'm getting older, and the older you get, the less relatable you become. People like younger people, so they'll just watch someone their age. And the older I get, the more people watch me. They have jobs, they have families, you know, they don't come online to consume content as much as they do. You reach a peak, then you slowly go down. That's where I'm at now. Wait, what does your audience like? What is your range? People like me, 30 plus? Okay, and you talked about aging out or alluded to it. How old are you currently? I'm 35. And when did you begin streaming? Probably 20 probably. And have you noticed trends in streaming industry in terms of popularity? Yeah, of course. Could you describe that in terms of just in general? In terms of popularity in general? Yeah, I think I reached my peak of popularity probably in 2024. And yeah, since then, it's going down. You can only really sustain that popularity for a short period of time. And if you don't build off of it, then it steeply falls down. In terms of popularity, the other streamers, there are streamers that didn't exist 2 or 3 years ago that are way bigger than me today. Yeah, Queso, Jinxie, you know, they're younger. You know, they have what it takes. What? They got what it takes. Hey, go to Nick's Streamer University. And when you talk about that streaming, you do it in video games, right? No. Video game streamers are more susceptible to what games are popular. So he's giving y'all some game right here. So they also have a shelf life, but that is dependent on what game, what people like playing. If no one likes playing their game, no one is going to watch them, you know? And usually those people have longer careers because they can just hop on from game to game. So people like Pokelols, right? Remember Pokelols? Hey, you jealous what I can do? I can play games and people watch. Whereas being the cool kid, you know, that fizzles out after a while. So Nick thinks he's the cool kid? And what typical range do you see streamers in your line of work? Well, anyone can stream, but the most popular are the younger ones than I am. The lower 20s, like Kachi's age. The streamers of the year is 20. The streamer of the year. Oh, you're talking about speed. As we keep going, when we talk about that issue, the issue is shelf life. Do you believe that would impact your ability to do what Miss Paloma is asking you to do, which is essentially pay 1.45 million? Yeah, it's going to affect that. That's what she wanted. I don't know what to say. In terms of what you've seen in this spreadsheet, are there any money or cash apart from what you've seen here? No.
Stop the cap.
Bro, I'm sorry for the sound effects, but I'm live streaming this. Going back to Ms. Malone's proposed division of issues, I'm going to pull up again the screen. I just want you to go over a couple requests. So you see an request about continuance of an injunction regarding speech, regarding your ability to make statements in the divorce. Okay, are you asking the court to deny these requests? I am. Okay, because he wants to make statements. And can you state to the court the concerns of this injunction? Okay, so here's his concern if he was muzzled. Yeah, I don't think I was able to properly refute the accusation against me. The temporary change that we done wouldn't let me use proof of anything to review any sort of statement, pictures, etc., which I agreed to. I think being able to clear up some of those things that were said, there was a photo mentioned in that document. I have no problem showing people what photo was because it's a nothing burger. I would like to be able to help repair my reputation because it's paramount in doing what I do for a living. It's everything. So I wonder, does Nick think I was like hurting his reputation by reading court docs? I mean, what does he think about this? I mean, this is like reading his testimony is hurting him. Like, you read what I said in court. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure counsel will provide you to make a statement. Have you made any statements since the injunction? He has not. And that way, I think I understand the way it's structured. If someone else was, it was my ability to defend myself for some other person attacking me. That's how I read. And thankfully, there has been no other leaks, bro. Well, everything's out now. There wasn't anything to respond to currently. So no. Okay, we keep going. Are you asking for for it just to be made permanent? Yeah, he wants the case sealed. Okay, he says it's for financial records. I mean, that could be true, but I think he just wanted all of the sealed. He didn't say, hey, I just want the financial records sealed. He's like, no, I want the whole case sealed. He filed for the whole case to be sealed. His lawyer's going to argue that, hey, the whole case should be sealed. Okay, you have that. Okay. They're asked about consent required. No, I don't think I would. I think I would be able to transfer them if I wanted to. So he can give her the shares of OTK. And in your understanding, you're able to transfer the shares of right now without board approval? Yes. I mean, because they are all on board. Like, dude, whatever you need to do to get this divorce going, to get us out of the crosshairs, yeah, we're all for it. Okay. When you talk about transferring them, you mean transferring to Ms. Malone specifically? Yes. What about the probability of sale? Yes, correct. Transfer them to her. Sale, whatever we need to do to get these OTK shares out of here. So if OTK takes off and is successful, you're willing to share that with Ms. Malone by virtue of awarding her these shares? Yeah. And now, here's the thing, right? Their shares are supposed to be worth $2 million. And I know Malena wanted her shares guaranteed to be worth 1.4. That way she could just walk away, but I'm not sure if that happened. And the court, yes. And you disagree with that value. So he disagrees with this value because what does he say right here? I'm not exactly sure what it came from. Okay, so he like, I don't know where it came from. I'm going to disagree. Okay. What is your understanding of available buyers? Because 0. I don't know anyone who wants to buy it. I mean, I'll buy it for $1. Nick, I got you, dog. I got you. All right, so that was the end of this. Now let's go back to Malena's, and then we're kind of going to finish this up. We probably got like 30 minutes left. Sorry for it being so long. I just don't want to like skip over too much because it is relatively important. And keep in mind, right, this testimony happened over 2 days. So I'm cramming 2 days of testimony in probably a 2.5, hopefully not 3-hour video. And we're in the final stretch. We're at cross-examination, right? Because Nick's lawyer finally gets to cross-examine Malena, right? So we're right here at cross-examination. Now, they talk about the privacy concerns. This is where her lawyer, or not her lawyer, Nick's lawyer is like, look, we need to seal a case. If you worried about privacy, seal it. And they have a little back and forth, but she's like, no, I just want to continue with the injunction that we have in place and not seal it. I'm comfortable with the confidentiality order. Okay. But she's like, I think I'm misunderstanding the seal thing. It's like a package deal. If we were to continue confidentiality, the seal would automatically also be in place. Okay. Yeah. Now he's about to cook. He's about to cook her because she was being honest. And I think she was still like in a roundabout way protecting Nick, if you will. Okay. He talks about, well, you would agree that there are financial records in the court's file in this case between you and Nick, right? Your personal financial information is on file with the court. Yes, and has also been made public. And you would agree that sealing this case would help protect that information moving forward. I agree that going forward with the confidentiality order would be the best. Okay. So like I said, it's a little, I think it's a little, maybe some misunderstanding, or she just like, you know, she pulling like, look, man, I want Henry to access the records and whoever else, I guess. But, she asked him to explain it to her a couple of times, but it's just, I don't know if it gets through or not, but, it's for everyone to see. You're aware that Mr. Palom signed the release for the documents that, like, see, this is where they were talking about lawyer fees. Like, I don't care about the lawyer fee document. Hey, we didn't get the documents in time. You should pay our lawyer fees. Well, we received them. Okay, now look, this is where the lawyers, when you see the red, it's bad. Malena, would you agree that during the pendency of these proceedings, you have not applied for any jobs? She does. Would you agree you've not received any job offers? I think I want to reiterate or rephrase what I said. I have. You have received a job offer from Nick. Bro, Nick is like, hey, I know we going through a divorce, but hey, you want to run this channel? You want to post me and Kachi 24/7? Now it's strategic though, right? He probably offered her a channel manager job. And the reason he does this is saying, look, you can work for me. You've done it before. Do it again. Now, I just don't think she would have did that. Like, could you imagine, you know, Malena is over here posting clips of Nick and Kachi, or even just editing that stuff for him? That would have been cringe. All right. You haven't signed up for any class or education? No. You would agree that you have not made any meaningful efforts to secure employment as of yet? You're asking Mr. Palom to play spousal maintenance? Yes. So this was like, look, give me my spousal maintenance, okay? Have you presented proposed disposition issues? Yeah. Look, she wants the spousal maintenance. It's $300,000 at stake, okay? Why would she not want it? I can't see why she wouldn't, but we got to keep going. This is nothing crazy. This is where he lock her in. This is where she literally kills her chances for spousal maintenance. Okay. You would agree that the sum totals about roughly $450,000, right? They're talking about the balance of the accounts, how much money she's getting. She said, give or take, yes. And then down below, he's proposing that you get approximately $100,000 from the Bank of America account. Yes. And in aggregate, about $550,000 in cash. Does that sound about right? Yes. Would you agree that you could live on, say, $150,000 a year? That's a lot of money, she says. I think anyone in their right mind could live on $150,000 a year. Would you agree that if you wanted to, you wouldn't have to work at all for the next 3 years? You could live simply on the cash alone that Mr. Palom is proposing that you receive as part of your proposed disposition. If for the next 3 years, if we say $150,000 a year for the next 3 years, now look, she's like, I'm not going to disagree that anyone could live on $150,000 a year for 3 years with this amount of money. No, that was her chances out the window. Spousal maintenance, gone. Okay. They talk about the shares for like OTK and, what does it say? I have no idea. I don't know even if they have all the documents, if they're tied together. I don't know if they have a holding companies. I don't know anything. I just believe like whatever the experts say. I'm not an expert on this matter. You see, here's the thing, right? OTK owns all these companies. So you got, this is Petition Exhibit 74. You have Red Tunic, OTK Ventures, OTK Studios, and they got all these different companies under King Gaming Lab, Veils Mars Inc., Mad Mushroom, Mythic Media Group LLC, which is an active entity. So you got like companies just sitting here chilling, not doing nothing. Dragon Fruit Studios LLC, V Show Inc., and this percentage, I guess, indicates their ownership. Look, man, she still don't want no parts of that, right? She's like, I don't know. I just know they have holding companies. I don't know anything. I just believe whatever the expert says. I'm not an expert in this matter. And this is going through like the cross-examination. So this is Nick's lawyer just hammering her. Would you agree that coming into the marriage, Mr. Palom owns social media accounts? So this is him trying to keep the Twitch accounts. Would you agree he had his own Twitch account? Yeah. Likewise, your own social media? Yeah. What is this? Mr. Palom, in part, has been able to essentially build these business interests and accumulate capital and grow the community estate rather through his streaming efforts. She says, I think Nick and I have grown his channel. I would agree with that. That I have requested multiple times to make me part of it, as with the bank accounts. I think that Nick has played a significant role in our success together. So she is giving him credit for success, but she's like, look, I played a role. But he don't see it like that because she planned the events and all this other stuff. Now they talk about she wouldn't feel safe being like the only woman. Would you agree that there's not just a male members, but a female member as well, at least one? Because she said OTK was a boys club. We're like, well, we got Emeru. Emeru owned like less than 1% of stock, man. Don't nobody give two shits what she say. She's more like a mascot, a female mascot for OTK than anything. Who looks to be false allegate Mizkif. So she comes up and you're yourself on social media because they're trying to make her be monetized. Collectively, you say over 250,000 followers. Yes. And in the course of being married to Nick, you've gained an understanding of how to social media followings can be monetized. Nick handled our monetization. He handled talking to sponsors. He handled the business. I didn't have much insights. I did the labor. Let me re-ask the question. Would you agree throughout the course of your marriage, Mr. Palom gained an understanding of how to monetize social media, the followings? She like, yeah, to a certain extent, yes. Okay, so this is another nail in her spousal support coffin because she knows how to do monetization. You would agree that reputation is paramount of importance of a streamer? Yes. Would you agree that developing a reputation can help attract followers? Yes. Earlier, you testified the concept of being canceled. Do you recall that? Yes. So the same way you could build a great following, massive following, your reputation, that can be taken away from you relatively quickly. If you're familiar with Rich Campbell, like, bro. So Nick had to tell his lawyer, like, yeah, Rich Campbell got canceled. So yeah. All right. Things like that. And earlier you referenced a member of OTK. His name is Mizkif. Yes. And you would agree that both of these members were essentially canceled at one point. Yes and no. Well, you would agree that their reputation took a hit? Yes. And they're no longer members of OTK? Yes. And would you agree that I'm sorry. I just want to rephrase it. I don't know if Mizkif is still a member of OTK. I mean, I think he's not though, right? He's cooked. All right. Let's see. Okay. And since divorce has been pending, he's not been his usual self in terms of streaming. Yes. In the same way you have taken a step back from streaming, would you agree? So he's like, look, man, my client's not streaming. Okay. Now, this is where they try to get into like, she's hurting him. Would you agree that you have made statements in writing about Mr. Palom that were put on a file with the court, statements that don't reflect him in a flattering light? I submitted statements to the court. Okay. Based on this divorce, You agree that the court documents filed in this case has surfaced online? Yes, sadly. And would you agree that Mr. Palom has suffered a degree from reputational harm as the results of these divorce proceedings? You would agree that the same way that reputation is important to other streamers' ability to make a living is also important to Mr. Palom's ability to make a living. I think it's important for both of us to maintain a certain reputation. Now you're asking him to pay a judgment of $1.6 million based on what it says in the document. I just don't want to stray off that number. Yes, but I'm sorry. There's a lot of assets, so I just don't want to. I don't want to say yes to something that I don't. I haven't done the math of everything together. Okay. Well, you would agree that you're asking Mr. Palom to pay for 50% of the value of the shares of OTK of what you contend to be their value. As that what I've said here? Then yes. And would you agree that you've also asked the court to order Mr. Palom to pay 50% of what you believe the value of OTK Gaming Labs is? Yes. You're asking him to pay an aggregate amount to you? Yes. And you would agree that Mr. Palom doesn't have that money in his estate to pay you. He doesn't have $1.6 million on hand to pay you. I agree. Oh, man. And you were, where would that money come from? I don't know. I would have been like streaming. He said it was making $60,000 a month. I'm like, streaming. $60,000 a month. Earlier, you testified about education. She has no physical disabilities. I guess she has dysplasia, but it doesn't prevent her from working. That's, more evidence to why she shouldn't get spousal maintenance. Have you suffered any mental health disorders that will prevent you from having a job? No. I've suffered from the past year, just like Nick has suffered from ending a 12-year relationship and a 10-year marriage. I have also been trying to get back on my feet. Wait, how old is Malena now? Wait, is Malena, like, how old is Malena? Because she said a 12-year relationship. Ain't she 30? Ain't she 30? Or what? Wait, all right, maybe. Ain't she like 28? I think she may be young. Like, how old is Malena Tootie? Did she just like self-report? Okay, she's 30 years old. Okay, she was born 1996. All right. I have also been trying to get back on my feet. Okay. She's going through it. But would you agree that the streaming world, people communicate a little differently? They're trying to break down the communication of him calling her, the R word and stupid. She said, yes. I said that because when we talk about fault, you would agree that in this marriage, the cause of the breakdown is fault on both sides. Oh, she said yes. I mean, this was, I guess, the honest answer. Earlier, you testified the part that caused the breakdown, you said quite failed to communicate. Do you recall that? Yes. Meaning you and Mr. Palom failed to communicate. Yes, I think that. You also said a quote that you were not nice to each other. Is that fair to say? Yeah. Now, to be clear, your petition for divorce, you're seeking a divorce on the grounds of insupportability. In other words, no fault divorce. Are you familiar with that? I'm sorry. Can you speak up? Insupportability. Do you want the grounds of insupportability? Meaning a no fault divorce. Would you agree to that? Okay. Yeah. So she, I think early on she posted, like, it could have been to a fault-based divorce with the whole cheating allegations of the pictures on the phone and obviously Nora allegations. So you have things like that. Looking at the top, does it appear to be a copy of your second amended dispositions? You'd agree that line 1, you're asking the court to grant a divorce between the parties on the grounds of insupportability? Yes. You didn't allege or assert that Mr. Palom committed adultery. That is not your pleading. You didn't allege that Mr. Palom committed cruelty. That is not your pleading. I allege Nick financially abused me, which he did. Oof. Well, can we agree that the question I just asked you were not relevant to financial abuse? Yes, I'm sorry. But let's talk about that part. Over your relationship with Mr. Palom changed. It developed. The two of you changed individuals. Would you agree? Yes. Yes. Over, you became involved in the streaming endeavors. Yes, we started streaming together. Over that time, you began to receive income for your efforts you made. Me? Yes. Answer, but it went to Nick's account. I mean, like, how much was he paying her, dog? Was he paying her like an appearance fee per stream? Like, oh, babe, you was on stream, so here's what, $1,000 a day to be on stream? like, here's the thing, right? When you think about this, okay, let's break this down before we go forward. Nick streams by himself. He makes, let's just say, $10,000. Nick streams with Malena. Let's say he makes $20,000. Let's just say, per 2 weeks or something, right? Would she be entitled to the extra money that he makes? I mean, because they're married, technically, there is no his money and her money. It's our money. It's their money. But I think he convinced her that it was his money. Because I know, like, during it talks about, like, her mom having cancer treatment and Nick paying for it. And she said that was nice of him. Like, nice of him? How? He paid for it out the main account. That's your money. That's your money. You paid for your mom's treatment, but he ends up getting the credit. Let's talk about that part. Okay? You had a shared credit card the two of you would use during the marriage. And each of you had the ability to make charges and things on it. Each of you agreed to consult one another about purchases. All of our answers are yes, yes, yes. Would you agree? Let me go back a little bit. Asked if both of you consulted with one another about significant purchase. Yeah, you consulted with the phone. I did. Okay. And he would tell you or consult with you about significant purchases? No, not always. I think he did in one time where I said earlier that I came and asked him if I could send $5,000 to his mom or whatever. And then the last 2024, he wanted to spend $30,000 on equipment. Well, when we were talking about the management of the finances, were there times when you would ask Mr. Pallone for certain expenditures and Mr. Pallone would consent to that? Fair to say? Yes, yes, yes. And earlier you testified about your mother's illness. Would you agree Mr. Pallone helped you pay for her treatment? This is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. Yes. When it came out of the bank account where my money goes into, yes. So he didn't pay for your mom's treatment. He didn't pay for it. You paid for it. And he framed it like he paid for it. Like, that's what the lawyer's like, oh no, he paid for your mom's treatment, right? Like, no, I paid for it. You would agree he had no issue with that? Look, she says, I don't recall exactly if he had an issue with that, but it was something that I had to ask him for and got permission to do. I mean, obviously, because it was a large amount to spend almost $20,000 on medical treatment, maybe in America, but that's insane in Europe. So, but yes, Nick helped with that. And I'm very grateful because my mom is still here today. She is so brainwashed to think that Nick paying for the mom's treatment without the kindness of her heart when in reality was her money to begin with. Oh my Lord. I'm looking at this, reading this like, this is like infuriating. Oh man. I'm gonna pull up what's marked respondents 80. Now we know what respondents 80 is, right? Look, this is this one. When she tell me to go delete myself, when she came up and all this stuff. And then remember when I dropped it, she was like, yo, this guy needs to go KYS. Like, bro, I'm just doing my job. Okay. When you talked about the lingual manner of speaking you developed during the marriage, for example, telling Mr. Pallone to KYS. Yeah. Any objection for already? No objection. Text messages, it gets in. The court, all right, cool. Let's get it. And similarly, the other message presented you've seen today is a conversation in August 2022. Yeah. Where you're threatening to delete Mr. Pallone, I assume not seriously, right? Yeah. Turning to page 2, you state that this conversation between you and him from 2023, right? Yes, sounds about right. You state you rather, unalive yourself. Yeah. But you weren't serious at the time. No, turn to the next page. This is a conversation between you and Mr. Pallone in August 2023, right? Yeah. And similarly, you're talking about someone else needs to KYS. What did she say? Yes, he put my last name, Palom, on the internet through a court document very early on. Dog. I knew they were, look, guys, I knew they were married when I was covering XQC. And I was just like, I never knew it was going to blow up to this huge, humongous divorce. I never knew that. I was just like, oh, okay. They're married. Whoop-de-doo. Now they keep going on, right? They talk about how she's making payments to her mom for rent. And there's like, I guess they've always paid mom's rent or some type of rent. And it's not $8,000 per month. It's literally $800 per month, but it gets converted. So in the bank statement, it may looks like 8,000 whatever Norway's currency is, but in reality, it's 800. You know, the bills are not included. So they tell me every month how much the bills was, and the base pay of the rent is 500. But they also pay the phone bill for me just because it's easier for them to keep it up with it. I'm on their plan there. Okay. So these transfers you make during the pendency of your divorce, you didn't consult Mr. Paloma about them. You just went ahead and made them. Those rent money we've been paying for years in Norway. So I guess that's going to stop. Do you recall purchasing a Super 73 in April of this year? Yes. You spent about $4,500. Yes. Did you consult with Mr. Paloma about that? I don't recall. Do you recall spending $3,700 for drive tanks? Tanks driving. Do you recall paying $3,700 for that? Yes. Did you consult him about that? No, not at all. Did you buy a Louis Vuitton purse for $3,300? Yes, I consulted with Nick about that. He said, okay, that was the gift for our shared friend and his assistant for her 30th birthday. He got an assistant. Who's the assistant? Well, I kind of know. I'm over here. I blocked out her name. You know, people who, you know, wasn't part of this stuff. Just blocked it out. Did you fly to Greece in June this year? Yes. Did you take a trip to San Antonio? Yes. That's where the dive tanks was. Earlier, you testified about your lease, how long you've been living there. I signed a 6-month lease. You pay about $4,600 a month. Yes. In your own words, you agreed that amount you're paying is rather expensive. Yes, it is. You're aware that Mr. Paloma himself also rents? Does he also rent? Does he also rent, man? From Chance? Yeah, dog. He's paying them the $2,000 per month, right? Yeah, I wasn't made aware of that till early 2025. I think it was he made the lump sum payment of $20,000. Yeah, dog. Yeah. I mean, I think it was just for this case. I think the rent's gonna stop, right? I haven't seen a rent agreement or anything. He hasn't sent it to me. I don't know if they have one. And he also made another $10,000 lump sum payment to our former roommate, who was very gracious and let us stay in his house for years. Let us stay in his house. They talk about the rent. Like, we're almost done, guys. We just got to get through a little bit of this because it's just the redirect. I mean, this is probably one of the most important parts because it's the cross-examination. All right. The cross-examination. And then we got the rest of Nick's and then we're done. I want to show you this mark 68 at the top. I mean, I don't think we really care about this. This is like credit card stuff. As we keep going, the transfers, they're back to this. So the 800 each. Okay. So the rest of your knowledge, the transfers you see here are really 800 each rather than the roughly 8,000. That's your testimony to the best of your recollection? Yes, maybe except for one of them. I would have to go back and look at my bank account because I did send my mom a lump sum payment for EBO. I don't know what that is. In Spain, where she had finished radiation, and I can't exactly if I sent through PayPal or wire transfer, but the currency difference, that's actually 800. That's for rent. Okay. So like he's trying to get her, what he's doing right here is getting her to admit that she sent money that Nick didn't know about, you know, kind of like going at the financial abuse stuff. But from 2015 to 2023, her lawyer should have like honed in on that. But the problem is for the financial abuse came from my opinion is that it ain't really happening right now. Okay, so let's just keep going through this. The waist claim, another Chanel bag comes up. Okay. Now this is where she cooks herself again. All right, for getting 60%. Miss Malone, with respect to you and your husband, do you consider yourselves as equals? I consider us as equals. Now look at this question. Pay attention, because the lawyer either got her, maybe she knew, or she's like tired. Like at some point you get divorce fatigue. You've been doing this shit for like a year. Like, I just want it to be over. And do you believe, or would you agree that 50% of what you've acquired ought to be awarded to Mr. Palome? Would you agree that it's fair for Mr. Palome to receive 50% of the estate, just as it would be fair for you to receive 50% of the estate? She says yes. What's the problem with that? She filed for 60%, but now she's like, man, 50% is good. So the court is like, look, we can't give you more because you just said 50 is fair. In terms of the estate itself, so OTK touched on what you've touched, King Gaming Labs. You also got property. Do you recall that? Our land in Norway. It's jointly titled acquired. Who cares about the jointly titled stuff? I got to keep going. You bought many years ago. Yes. Would you agree that property is worth $200,000? She's like, look, I'm not sure what the property is worth. It's not appraised. She don't know. You bought it because you thought it was a good deal for you and Mr. Palome. Now, here is where the woman comes into play, right? No. We bought that property because we intended to build something on there. And then when we were going to have kids one day, it would be nice to be close to grandma. I mean, but does Nick want to be close to grandma? He don't even think grandma raised Malena right. And I just have a very big attachment to home. So I think that we bought that property because it was a good fit. Not whereas it was a good deal, because I honestly don't know if it was a good deal. But looking at the property in the area, it does match the prices. So at one point, I guess they were going to have kids. Interesting. Okay. So you agree that it was a reasonable purchase price at the time, the best of your knowledge. Yes. And I'm very grateful for it. Like, what? It was bought with your money. What are you talking about? Like, grateful. Like, thank Nick for spending my money on getting a house. I know I don't want to make fun of Malena, but I mean, I get it. I get some conditioning that's been going on. Okay. So in the years since, would you agree that the property was likely to be worth a little bit more than what you paid for? Like, this is like minuscule. I don't know, because nothing has been done to the property. She don't know. You've not listed the property for sale? No, I would never have. No, never. And I would have to consult Nick. So, yeah. You're asking the court to award it to you? I don't think Nick would want to have a property next to my mom. She like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does that include land? Earlier, I asked you about the certain expenditures you had made during the course of these proceedings. And one of them was a $3,700 for dive tanks. Do you recall that? Yeah. So he kind of like gets her on this one. And that's just to be clear, that's just for driving an actual tank. Yeah, she went to drive a tank. And you paid that? Yes. You're familiar with the standing orders in place? Yes. And you would agree that they provide the parties only propose to incur expenses that they are reasonable and necessary. Can I ask you when the standing order in place was filed? Look, I mean, he got it. He got you, Malena. He got you. Now let's go to the financial abuse part. I skipped all the lawyer stuff. Like, bro, the lawyer talk is weak, in my opinion. So, financial abuse. Okay, she alleged the financial abuse. You make a statement, subsequent pages, you scroll down, statements, quote, suspicious, another woman, quote, message between another woman and Nick, statements about financial abuse that I just referenced. Those are all things that are in your response. Yes, sir. Okay, and before this case was sealed, this document file was public. Yes, because the seal, it was public. Yes, before the seal, it was public. And in fact, it surfaced on various streaming channels and social media platforms. Yes, it's like a conspiracy theory. And you would agree that these statements portray Mr. Palom in a negative light. Yes. And you would agree that shortly after, in the fact, after the response was filed, your case was sealed. Yes. Now, I'll give you a backstory, right, on this, because I broke it, but someone broke it before me. And here, you're sitting right here, did not have an opportunity to file anything in the court to defend himself. In fact, the case was then sealed only after you were making these comments about him. Okay? And so really going back to a great degree, we had talked about in our last hearing in this case, what we're essentially asking is to restrict Mr. Palom's ability to speak in any manner publicly defend his reputation. What does she say? I don't want our personal problems to be made into entertainment. And it has never been my intent that Nick would be hurt from this document. For that, I'm really sorry. Like, bro, why is she apologizing? Why? I'd be like, look, man, it is what it is. He did that shit. But she like, I'm sorry. And would you agree it's impossible to undo what's already been done? Yes. And would you agree that if similar thing had happened to you, if your reputation became harmed, that you would at least like to have the option to do something about it? Yes. And we talked about injunctions. And you would agree that Mr. Palom should be free to defend himself in the public forum. What it does to help repair reputation relies on to earn a living? No, I don't agree with that. She like, no. You're asking Mr. Palom to pay you 1.6 million part of judgment? Yes. You're asking him to pay you money which he does not exist currently? Yes. And I suppose expectation is that he will somehow go out and earn this money. I don't know how that will be handled. I just know that I don't want to go into business with Nick, his friends, his family. I don't know how else to resolve this. I'm sorry. I mean, she's so apologetic on the stand. My lawyer would be looking at me like, he'd be like, what are you doing? Now, I want to ask you very briefly about the point you're saying that you don't want to go into business with Mr. Palom. I understand that if we were to tell you here today, he took no issue in giving you all the shares and the amount of money that you say they're worth. Would you accept that? Ooh, she said it. She said, look, how about we just give you all the shares or whatever. So look, I will consult with my attorneys about this offer that I've never heard about that until right now. And I don't know what I would be signing up for because I don't know what's in those documents. I don't know what's in this business and I have no insight. And I would prefer not to be in business. Even if Nick wasn't in the business, I still don't trust the CEO. Tips out. I don't trust the other board members. Asmin, go. Esfand. I don't trust people in it. In other words, it should be Mr. Palom's problem. I don't know the answer to that. And he just passed the witness like, look, bro. I mean, yeah, I guess she just wants out, man. What do you expect? Okay. What do you expect? This is still her testimony. Okay. Did you have the ability to go and defend yourself against Mr. Palom to court to address? She could defend herself, but she don't got the same platform. So if he says some stuff about her, his platform is so big, her platform so small, but I think it'll go viral for sure. So to be clear, the business was something that Nick wanted to do. Yeah, and I supported him, which he did. And those interests he was seeking to develop, yes. He wanted to speak as far as forming these businesses, yes. Do you believe that Mr. Palom will begin streaming? Objection calls for speculation, bro. Do you have any concerns about his ability to make money? Sorry. Do you believe that he can begin streaming? Yeah, yes. So your request, his budget that he submitted in September 2025, he stated that he made approximately $60,000 per month. Do you recall that? Yes. And so the payment based upon Mr. Palom's wage spreadsheet you pulled together, did you view or observe that he was, being mindful about the money that he was spending? No, he did not. Look, man, she never going to agree that he was being mindful. Okay? No, not going to agree. As one of the questions Mr. Payne asked you is whether 450, 500,000. Mr. Palome proposed that you will be able to live off of for 3 years. Do you recall that question? Yes. And under Mr. Palome's view of the world, he's being awarded NMPLOL Productions. Is that correct? Yes. And there's a significant funds held in the business accounts that controls the account. Yes. And in addition to the approximately 450,000 that's in those accounts, do you also believe that Mr. Palome is going to continue to make income over $1 million? Absolutely. Absolutely. What is she going to say? Because this is like some of her final testimony. I think that as soon as the divorce is finalized, Nick is going to start streaming again. And he's made statements about that publicly, that he can't wait to be unshackled from me. And that it's while, according to the laws of Texas, that the spouse has the right to 50% of income during divorce proceedings. Nick has said that to himself publicly, that he cannot wait for this to be over so he can make a comeback. He also said on his podcast with Thomas Morris, the podcast called Punching Down, he referred to this. Redirect, recross examination. It's just more about money. Okay? It's more about money. You can read it. Does that she's getting about 550,000 in cash. Is that your position, that Mr. Palome has the cash entity in NMPLOL Productions? Yes. And somewhere the tune of 400,000 spreadsheet indicates that amount, right? Yes. So make sure I'm answering the question right, because there's been a lot of confusion. Sorry. So if we add the 450,000 plus the roughly 550,000, it's nearly $1 million in cash. You're asking for Mr. Palome to pay you as part of the upfront division of the asset. Yes. And by contrast, you're proposing Mr. Palome receive a grand total. Now look, this is where her lawyer was like trying to be cheeky. Basically say you're trying to leave him with 65,000. They go back and forth, right? Because it's not really 65,000. It's because he's going to get like half of like NMPLOL Productions. Okay, so they're going back and forth about it or whatever. It's just lawyers. This lawyer's lawyer. I've seen it actually today. There's no other significant cash accounts in the estates. Not that I'm aware of, but from my side, no. This is sad. Like, this is where you be like, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know, he played the game, he won the game. He got no investments in his name. Got no investments on paper. He owned only 2 cars and camera equipment. I'm sure his father is just laughing. Like, see, son, prepared you for all that. This is the whole mischaracterization of the $65,000, and it's pretty much just done. It's done. It's just more money. So we're talking like they're arguing over the amount of money that Nick will have. That's the end. Now going to Nick's final testimony, because Malena's was pretty pivotal. Okay, because this continued direct examination. Okay, we're gonna zip through it, right? So he's spending $2,000 a month in rent, $5,000 a month that he's making. Do you believe the amount that she has incurred for rent is reasonable? Absolutely not. He like, no, it's not. Okay. When it comes to the lawyer records or the records that they didn't get, he just blames OTK because he's like, look, man, he gave them the best records. He's like, I'm not a custodian for OTK. So if she don't get the documents, that's on her. Okay. Do you have access to the fingerprints to these documents? No. No, I don't. So that is where we're going with this with OTK. It's a bunch of stuff about like, I emailed this person, he didn't give it to me. The 3K, I think this comes up right here. The Neiman Marcus. Okay, similar, there was an expense from Neiman Marcus for approximately $3K highlighted here. Yeah, do you see that? And you're agreeing for the record that this be categorized as waste. Yeah, so he's like, yeah, that's a waste claim. That's a waste claim. Now, we don't have to go through much of this because, like I said, we're like at the end. We're like at the end of it. So they talk about that. Now, there was like the Chanel bag. I'll talk about that, right? Let me see if I can find it. Okay. How you spell Chanel? Did I spell it right? Channel. Let's just look equipment. Okay. So right here, right? So this was about the bag. Okay. What is this? 25? Oh, I'm shocked we missed this. Okay. In terms of other items cited by Ms. Malone, you heard testimony about a bag. Can you describe the handbag? Yeah, specifically it was a Chanel bag that I bought for like equipment to like put equipment in, bro. So the equipment is like her cell phone and probably like a little USB or a DJI, a microphone in it. And he's trying to frame that as the equipment bag. I mean, even the court chimed in a little bit, because there are bags that were purchased in the Philippines. She testified were purchased for a girlfriend. They were pretty expensive. I'm not clear what you're talking about. Oh man. I mean, this was funny as he's trying to sell that Chanel bag as an equipment bag. But hey, you gotta try, right? You gotta try. Because like, look, the court, when you see the court talking, this is the judge. Okay, I think it will help me because there are many items there, not just one bag. There were other items, including Vegas trips and a pretty detailed list. I think it amounted to a little over $100,000. Now the judge actually snaps at Nick about him paying for trips for Kachi. And he was like, oh, well, I paid for it for streaming, and then she pays for a trip. It's in here, all right. I don't know if it's like right here, but yeah. And so when we talk about just one bag and being used for equipment without context, like when was it purchased? What kind of bags do people purchase for equipment from Chanel? Like what, bro? All right, let's keep going because Nick's testimony was nothing like remarkable about it. All right, so 91, what is this? It's more so he's making $5K a month. Hey man, don't hate the player, hate the game. But he does talk about the necklace, right? And this is during cross-examination. And you agree that's waste, correct? Correct. Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about the waste claim spreadsheet Ms. Malone provided. In her direct testimony, you talked about the 28,000 necklace that you have, correct? Correct. And in that, it's your in possession, correct? And you do not agree that this is a waste, correct? I do not. And to the extent that you keep the chain, do you agree that it should go on the spreadsheet as 28,000 value? Can you repeat the question? Yeah, he agrees that it's value. And one of them could keep the chain. You understand Ms. Malone didn't purchase that necklace, correct? Yeah. She doesn't want that necklace. I don't know that. She didn't put any evidence in her case, Chief, that she won that necklace, correct? Sure. Okay. And the one you bought the necklace, yes, sir. To reward yourself? No. Okay. To the extent that it has value, agree that should go on the spreadsheet, correct? I don't know. And why don't you know, sir? I'm not sure what you're asking me. I mean, this is just about the necklace, man. He's trying to get the necklace. He's trying to get the necklace as a waste claim. If you or Miss Malone, for example, were to purchase a car, okay, during this lawsuit, all right. If she were to take that car, would you believe that dollar amount should be ascribed to that, to the value? Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay, so that takes the car. You would want there to be a dollar figure on the spreadsheet to represent the funds used, correct? Oh, like a line item? Correct. Okay, yeah. Similarly, do you agree that there should be a line item on the spreadsheet for the necklace that you got? No, sorry, I misunderstood. See, so yes, sir. Do you agree that it should be the $28,000 purchase price? Sure. Similarly, there are certain bags that were purchased and listed on Ms. Malone's spreadsheet that you're going to take going forward, correct? Yeah, sure. And do you agree that those should also have value ascribed to them on the spreadsheet? Answer, and we're talking about waste spreadsheet. I'm talking about the one on the normal spreadsheet that's been exchanging all the assets and liabilities. I don't think that they're expensive, so no. And you have on Miss Malone's spreadsheet a $3,000 Louis Vuitton bag, correct? You put that there. Yeah. Now, what do you think he said about the Louis Vuitton bag that they got for the assistant? For his assistant on the 30th birthday. Oh, man. Do you recall the question proposed earlier? Ms. Malone asked if you could purchase that gift for somebody else. You agreed. Do you recall that? Yes. The thing is, he does agree that she could purchase it, but he was pissed off about how much it was. It was like $3,000. What? Do you agree that waste claim should be, sorry. He agrees about the bracelet for the waste claim that he bought the girlfriend, but he did not like that bag. Now, going forward, it's more shit about the necklace. I kid you not. I think that, but this time it's like his lawyer asking him. So, on 110. Okay. Where is the necklace at? Gotta make sure I find it because it is important. Okay. As we keep going. A couple things. Some of them was a $28,000 necklace. And that was the cost. Yeah. Do you believe that you can go out and get $28,000 for that? I'm not sure. Okay. In terms of that item, what was the particular reason you purchased it? Oh man, this guy's a character. I've just been nominated for a few awards at the Streamer Awards. This is the biggest event of the year. And you dress your best. And I was trying to, dress my part. Look the part. A lot of other people I saw was nominated with that's part of the outfit. You have a nice chain, You're successful. You're doing well. It's part of the image that I want to portray and sell to the audience. Is that image important to your success in streaming? Yeah, the cooler people think you are, the more they'll watch. Cringe, bro. Bro, Nick. Nick, you're not cool. You cool the kids. Now, the Kachi part, it gets a little sad, right? Ms. Malone's educational background, would you agree? Like her, neither of you are college educated. Yeah. But they did pretty good for yourself. Early on, he says, early on, you didn't make a lot of money. Malena Testify. I didn't stream a lot early on. I wasn't super confident. Whoops, wrong. 115. Sorry about that. Wrong one. This is the Kachi stuff. They talk about not being allowed to disparage the company. Recross examination. Okay. Mr. Malone, I noticed your girlfriend was here. Did you ask her to be here? She wanted to come, but she's not here. She's outside though, correct? Yeah. Okay. Did you let her know that you were going to be here today in court? Yeah. Okay. Did you think it was appropriate to have your girlfriend here during the divorce proceeding? She's not in here. She was outside though, correct, sir? I asked her to leave, yeah. She didn't know when it was going to be over. Now, because she's not in the room, this could be the first time she's hearing this. Like she's seeing this. Okay? Keep going. Mr. Arthur gets mentioned. And individuals in the courtroom, those are your fellow streamers. Is that correct? Not all of them. But is it true that you've been, I believe, on Arthur's show talking about how the divorce on his channel, correct? I don't recall. And you were on it saying that you can't talk about the divorce, but he can, correct? I don't recall. What part, when you're done with this process, you having streamers here, that becomes part of your deep dive, correct? Can you rephrase? Having other streamers here, you plan to do a deep dive with them after the divorce is finalized, correct? No. Look, we know he did a deep dive. It already happened. But, you know, her lawyer's concern is, do you believe that you will have a duty not to disparage Malena as part of her involvement with OTK Media pursuant to the proposal of the court? If that's what it is, says yeah. Because that's the whole big thing. I think he ends up saying like, hey, saying someone made misrepresentations, that's not disparaging. He like, I don't think so. But he never really, I guess, I don't know. Y'all take it how you want. But it's pretty much over, right? There's nothing to it. But that was the highlights of the court filing. What did you guys think? Is it like what you expected, right? Because some people say no. All right, but in my opinion, right, this testimony clearly answered, the question of why she didn't get more than 50% and why she didn't get spousal maintenance. But here's what in closing, right? I want you guys to think of this. Think of the story about the story becomes particularly difficult to ignore. Because if you take Malena's testimony at face value, there is, let's just say like one detail that stands out above everything else. For roughly 8 years of the marriage, the money was controlled by Nick. They married in 2015, and according to Nick's testimony, it wasn't until 2023 that she had access to, or signatory access to, log into the account. Think about that. 8 years of marriage, 8 years of building life together, 8 years of working together, streaming together, creating content together. And according to Malena, she didn't feel like she had equal control over the money that they built together. And that is the part that makes this very difficult to look at Nick simply as like some innocent victim of divorce, because Nick's response was essentially, yeah, the accounts were in my name, but Malena had access. That's an enormous difference between having access and having control. And Malena testified that Nick controlled the money. She didn't describe herself as an equal partner with equal financial authority. She described feeling like Nick didn't see her as equal. She specifically said she felt like the money was being used to control her. And that changes how, I look at everything else. Because Malena wasn't some person who just showed up, after Nick, became successful. She testified she helped build the foundation of his career. She edited for him. She managed channels, his and Chance's. She planned events. She was the creative side. She streamed alongside him for approximately 5 years and described the two of them, as a team, right? So imagine dedicating years of your life building something with your spouse and then feeling like you don't have equal control over the financial resources that come from that life. That's why, in my opinion, the financial control issue is so important. And then there's the way Malena described being spoken to. She testified that Nick would call her stupid, the R word, plenty of times to where she actually believed it. She believed that shit. It's insanity. Okay? Look, she was isolated, right? She said she continued throughout her relationship. She described trying to communicate her concerns, only to feel like those concerns were interpreted as attacks and answer was words that hurt her even more. And eventually she started, to question her own worth. That makes this story so much bigger than money. It's about power. Who had the power? Who controlled the finances? Who had the bigger platform? Who had the larger social? Who walked away from the marriage having to figure out how to become their own person again? Malena testified that she had to learn how to be an adult on her own and rediscover what her worth was. Meanwhile, Nick acknowledged that he wasn't completely blameless. Under questioning, he agreed that he had fault in the breakup that was equal to Malena's, admitted that he could have been more patient. So no, I don't, think the takeaway should be that Malena is perfect, but I don't think the takeaway should be simply that Nick is simply like some victim, like he paints himself as, and Malena is like this villain that's causing all these unnecessary costs and, all this other stuff. I really wish, right, that we can get what was offered in mediation, because I know in mediation, you have to submit, settlement offers. I would love to see those. Now, we don't get to see that because guess what? They're not filed with the court. It's just between Malena and Nick. So if they were to leak, Nick, leak what you settled, what you offered her, man. And stop saying this 50%, man, because I think that's cap. Okay. All right. But anyway, in the end, you hear a woman who says she gave her life to a relationship in a business partnership. A woman says she helped build the career. A woman who says she didn't feel financially equal. A woman who says she felt controlled. And now she's trying to rebuild her identity outside this relationship. That's why I think it's been very clear that I supported Malena early on. Now, I didn't agree with the goddamn spouse support. She was tripping on that shit. That's probably the only thing I didn't agree with her on. But, I don't agree with her, not because I think, every accusation automatically becomes fact, not because Nick isn't allowed to tell his side, because, he is, but like, the court transcripts say something different. But because I think Malena deserves to be heard. And, if her testimony is accurate, then she deserves something that, she says she spent years without equality. So, don't support Malena by harassing Nick, even though I know we're going to have little soldiers in the chat doing that. And y'all shouldn't be harassing Malena, Don't, I know it'd be like this internet war, but, the soldiers are going to soldier, for Nick, and the bots are going to bot. But, I think, for all the people who truly and honestly want to support Malena finally stand on her own, because, after eight years of marriage, if she really had to wait until 2023 to gain meaningful access to the finances of the life she helped build, then maybe the most important thing Malena could, have now isn't Nick's money. It's the control over her own life. She's free now to do what she wants, to not abide by any of Nick's rules or anything on the internet. But let me know what y'all thought of this. Sorry that it's so long, but I just crammed 2 days of testimony in under 3 hours, and they were there all day. So let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.